This week on No Cell Service, our hosts cover the psychological horror, The Shining. This content is intended for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is advised.
Both of us were just so lackluster in that one.
Yeah, you can tell that it's just like been a week.
Yep. It's been a second. Welcome. That's a weird way to start the podcast.
Welcome.
Welcome to this week's episode.
Oh my gosh, this is one I've been excited about for a while, mainly because I love Stephen King, but also like of all the classics that we've covered so far, this is among the most classic of the classics.
Yes, it's probably top tier horror movie classic in such a way that even a person who does not watch horror movies can reference The Shining without even like with a big enough grasp that they can reference it properly, right?
It's also one of the very few instances where, while it is not a direct adaptation of the book, it's very like foundationally the same. Like the characters are there, the location, but like
that's interesting that you say that, because I compare this to the Resident Evil movies, where it's like it's kind of a fan fiction of the story. Like, you're correct, it's the same characters mostly. Like, Wendy got changed a lot for the movies, which I do not appreciate them nerfing her the way they did.
Yeah.
And then it's debatable about Jack's sanity levels going into the hotel versus the book, where by the way, we talked about the book yesterday.
In the book, it's very... Sorry, I did not mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Oh my god.
We did book club yesterday. It's hard when we record episodes early to talk about things, and we did not talk about it all this month. We had book club for The Shining. Hopefully it was a live stream if we could figure that out. If not, we have the audio file. Go listen to it. Me and the missus did that yesterday. Yes, back to this. I am about halfway through the book, and so I'm going to do my best to not compare and contrast, because I'll do that in the book episode a little bit more. But I don't know, like, I really don't like Wendy's character. For Jack's character, in the book, what did I say? Like, he's got a head on his shoulders. Like, there's been some rocky roads, there's been some stuff happening.
He's more
but like,
human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very much just a guy trying to provide for his family. And in the movie, and I don't know if it's just because of like Jack Nicholson just like has one of those faces of like, I'm a serial killer.
He went in for this movie. Like, he would like sit there in the corner of the room and just like work himself up and get him into that place of like dissociation, and then just, all right, let's go. Like. So
Jack in the movie feels very much like he's a man on his last straw of sanity, clinging very much to it, where I feel like in the book you can see that development into insanity more so.
100%. I mean, it's impossible to convey as much through a movie as you can a book. That's never the case. This is one of the very few instances where a lot of the time you will see people say that the book is better, but still be like, I also really like the movie though.
And I think that's why I compare it to Resident Evil, because I really like the games, and when we did the Resident Evil movie, I'm like, I just don't compare it to the games. Like, it's a standalone movie series that I love, that has a basic concept of a game series I also love. Yeah,
I saw someone put it into really good words of, they did a great job capturing a bit of the dread, the feeling of mystery that comes along with the hotel in the movie. They kept that feeling for the most part. Again, it's not the exact same, because they're almost like two different stories, even though it's the same characters, same kind of shit.
Yeah.
It's just one of those, I mean, you could praise this movie for 1,000,001 different things. I mean, the cinematography alone, I know you and I are going to be talking about that, because so many of the shots in this movie give me the chills. Like, I was watching it and I literally got like goosebumps in one of them, and I'll point it out because it's a great fucking shot.
Okay, I'm trying to think of which one it is.
Maybe we should just start talking about it, because there's a lot.
A few notes while I was doing research on this. Stephen King hates this adaptation. He thinks it's the worst thing ever. Hates it. Mostly because he thinks it takes away Jack's story arc, which we kind of just talked about, and I think that's kind of true.
It's totally fair.
This movie, I don't know if it still is, but it was in the Guinness World Record books for most reshoots of a scene.
Oh, yeah. I mean, That makes sense, because there's one scene in particular that I know took them like 40 tries.
Oh, try higher, 148.
Oh no, I mean, I like just for one of the specific scenes that I'm thinking of, it took 48 for like one, but yeah, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, that the 148 is for, well, I guess I'll say it then. But this movie was only supposed to take 7 weeks to film. It took a fucking year and pushed a bunch of other movies behind because of all of the retakes.
That's crazy. I mean, they did also, the location stuff that they did too was really interesting. What goes into this movie is immense. I mean, you can tell, like, when you sit down and watch it, by the end of it, you just have such a good grasp of, this was a fucking ordeal to make.
I don't think I would ever work on a Kubrick film after reading everything all the hell he put Jack Nicholson and
Was he a bad director, to work with?
What's her name? Shelley Duvall?
Shelley Duvall, yeah. They also got Scatman Crothers.
Yeah, he specifically antagonized the shit out of Shelley to make her a more frenzied character. And she talks about it later in a documentary that Kubrick's daughter made. And she's like, I respect the hell out of him. Like, it did make a good appearance. You know, it made the scenes good, but like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He made Jack Nicholson only eat cheese sandwiches for 2 weeks because he hated them, to make him like just an angrier person as well. And then Nicholson, the most sleep he got was on the car ride to and from the location because of all of the reshoots and everything. So like, everyone's frenzied because it was hell. Oh. You couldn't even memorize the scripts because Kubrick would change it so frequently.
Jesus. See, I hate that. Like, I don't think it's ever a good idea to force an actor into method. You know what I mean?
If it's not the thing they do, then it's just going to be worse, in my opinion.
Yeah, like, I don't know. That just doesn't make sense to me. I can like kind of see it when I picture parts of the film, you know, like it definitely carries into the characters because you feel the emotion in a lot of these scenes, and you just, I don't know. It's a fucking wild movie.
Yeah, let's get into it, because we'll talk about stuff as we go. I have a few gripes about some specific editing choices they did. Few gripes about, I'm not going to compare and contrast, but like the book, one of the big criticisms is people say you don't care about what happens to Jack in this movie because he's just a fucking asshole. And in the book, everyone's like, you care for him because you see his flaws. And I was like, bitch, I don't care about Jack in the book either. I get through like the first 4 chapters of Jack and I'm like, yeah, you can go die. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I hope your wife divorces you and takes the kid. So
just because the book sheds some light on his humanity does not mean that humanity is not shitty. Like,
yeah, he seems like a shit dude to me.
Yeah. No, it's maybe 6 years, maybe 7 years since I've read the book, so it's been a while, but like,
they try to blame all of his faults on his alcoholism.
Yeah.
Which like I struggle with really hard because I mean, you have a better insight on this than I do, but it's just like, you're still responsible for your actions. I know it's a disease, but like,
yeah,
you can't just get away with that kind of shit that he did.
100%.
Because I have an addiction.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not how that works.
Well, and that's why, for anyone who doesn't know, I might as well just say this now. I'm sober because I used to struggle. I used it as a coping mechanism, and it got really bad to the point where I was physically dependent. And so I had to go through this whole process of getting sober because it ended up giving me seizures from withdrawals. And so I can't even drink anymore. Like, I would probably go into a seizure if I got drunk. So, you know, but one thing, and my recovery was a lot easier than most other people's. And I say that just because, like, by month 3, I was like totally fine. I was just like, I don't want to touch it. I don't even want to like bring that chaos back. But for people who really struggle with the addiction and like go through the 12-step programs and, you know, go through all of that, there's reasons why they specifically have the steps for making amends with the people around you. So like, I did that in my own way with the people who I knew deserved it, you know?
Yeah.
for lack of a better way to put it.
Without getting too much deeper, yes.
And, that step is so important because, like, again, like you said, they're your choices that lead to these actions one way or another. You cannot blame the substance because you're the one who chose to do so much of that substance that you lose control and then just fucking you're a menace to society.
Yeah.
Like there's literally no excuse. So
it drives me up a fucking wall, man.
Yeah, you can look at Jack in the book and be like, man's got a lot of fucking demons. But that still doesn't make any of what he did right at all. And like there are so many things that I remember like listening through the book, and I was drinking back then, not to such a heavy extent, but like I even remember thinking like, damn, bro, you got to chill. And luckily, when it came to my issue, I was never angry or violent. I got really sad. Like I just cry, or get emotional. For a fair amount of people, it just makes them angry. It just like makes them angry and then makes them feel like there's no repercussions because they're drunk. So these fists that I'm swinging or this, we'll talk about what he does later.
Yeah.
Like you got to take responsibility, man. At the end of the day, there's no other fucking route. So.
Yeah. So I understand, especially this is such a different time the movie and the book are portrayed in. And I'm not saying, it was okay then, but it was different vibes, right? You dealt with this stuff differently. And it was perceived differently back in the day. This
movie is a very of its time. I should probably just forewarn anyone out there, if you're very upset or uncomfortable with certain language that happened to be used in the past. They used some pretty bad language in this.
They used the hard N-word in this movie later on.
The hard N-word.
Twice, back to back.
And there's also just like straight up nudity. Not that any one of you watching necessarily probably cares about that because like most horror movies have some.
Yeah, I literally have in that scene, it's parentheses and it says obligatory boob scene.
Yeah.
It's just, you see more so than normal, I would say, in a horror movie because generally you get like waist up shots and she just like walks out of the bathtub.
Yeah. So just forewarning, like this is a movie of the times. I do not condone that language, especially. No. So when I say that I really like this movie, we can exempt that completely because that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. It's
especially because in the conversation, this is a conversation being portrayed by a guy that's supposed to be from an even earlier time.
From the 1920s.
Yeah. So like wasn't great in the 70s, but we were so much more progressive. The 20s
were even worse.
Were so bad. So just bear with us.
So those are those things. A heads up. We open on a lake shot. Drone shot is the best way I can describe it. It wasn't a drone. It was the 80s. But like...
It was a helicopter.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very, very cool. It's very steady for a helicopter shot, but it's not steady enough to where there's just enough of a visual jolt of what you're seeing to kind of add to like the discomfort that they hit you with immediately. Because like it opens and this camera is just like flying over this lake towards this little island in the middle. And it like flies over the island and then it cuts to way above the trees and following this car slowly driving up these kind of winding, like this uphill
mountain road type deal.
Up this hill through these woods. And meanwhile, this synth music is hitting you with these sinister notes, I would say.
It's definitely setting a tone of a horror movie. It's setting
a tone of, oh God.
Something's going to happen.
The classic, they're driving into their doom kind of music.
For sure,
that's the best way I can explain it.
That's
It's just very like, duh, 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 duh. Like, like
the synth orchestral, something bad is happening, but you're not seeing it quite yet. Old school. I feel like 80s movies had some good scores. They did some good stuff to it. Yeah. I do want to address the can I just opened was a double shot energy. It was not alcohol. I'm not just drinking on stream. That would be so bad after we just talked about this.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
So this scene goes on for over 2 minutes. This opening shot.
It's
so long.
I will say this is a movie that doesn't follow the formula nowadays of like trying to keep people in by keeping things short, entertaining. Some of these shots are slow. Some of these shots are, like we've talked about in so many episodes, meant to make you just sit and feel like the presence and the location and, you know.
Is Kubrick not American?
Actually, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't even know where he's from, but like
he was born in New York.
Oh.
New York City. That's interesting because I would say we've talked about quote unquote foreign films, right? Non-American films, non-US based films that have those long lingering shots that you're like, oh, okay, take a break. And it doesn't quite necessarily meet the length of like Audition or what was the other one we did? That was another one that had long lingering shots that where you're like, just fucking sit in it, my guy. Was
Anisman?
it not? No. Because that one was just like you had to pay attention or you didn't know what was happening, and we still didn't know what was happening.
Even then, yeah, I don't fucking know what happened.
Maybe it's just Audition. I feel like we did another one that had we've done a few, but...
We've done a lot of I'm sure if I looked at the lists and just been like, oh, that one.
Yeah. It's not as quite as long as the Audition shots were... Oh, Immaculate. Immaculate also had some long lingering shots that it did not cut away from. It doesn't meet that length, but it's not the standard American length.
No, it's a good amount of time to just let you hover. And then when you're in certain scenes where two characters are talking, there's not always a lot of perspective changes. You'll kind of hang in one perspective and just kind of like listen to a dude talk. And, you know, it makes sense because it's almost like you're being put in the room to just sit there and like also stare at this dude and listen to him talk.
Through this whole lake shot and following the cars, we get the weirdest credits because they're this weird teal color. They're not just white.
Fucking almost like Comic Sans, but like not as silly, but just a simple ass font in a blue, like tealish.
And then it's like outlined in black. It's so weird. It's the weirdest credits I have ever seen start a movie.
It feels like a of its time kind of credits where it was Star Wars. Like the old Star Wars. It's just like the blue simple text, you know, like
that's fair.
I don't know.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I kind of forgot about Star Wars as well with the weird text. We get in bold white text on a black screen, the interview. And we get Jack Torrance walking into the hotel. Like the title says, we're here for an interview. He's interviewing with Mr. Ullman, who is the manager of the hotel. We get cuts of his interview and then his wife, Wendy, and Danny back at their apartment talking. So it kind of cuts back and forth. Danny is eating lunch. So we get a little bit of conversation with Mr. Ullman because he asks about the family. And so it cuts to the family to show them. Yeah. And Danny's eating like a cheese sandwich, asking if mommy is excited to go live in the hotel. And she looks at him and is like...
It's a PB&J because he's got like the red jelly all over his face, you know, kind of.
It just like, looked like bread to me, messy. So I was guessing.
Yeah.
It's like such a thin sandwich that I was like, cheese sandwich?
I just saw like the shit like smeared on his face. That screams child eating a PB&J to me. Not that it fucking matters. I'm not trying to correct you. I just like, I don't know.
It would make sense.
I love Danny. He's such a cute little boy.
Do you know he did not know they were filming a horror movie? They do that a lot with kids, but he just thought they were filming a movie about a family.
And then, oh my god, I can't even imagine.
Well, because think of that as... So I found that out while I was doing research, right? And as you're watching things happen, you only get Danny's reaction to a lot of things. You don't get him watching stuff happen. Yeah. So you're like, oh, they just didn't show it. They didn't show the crazy, scary scenes to him.
Yeah.
And just like that puts a different perspective on this kid's reactions.
Because there's a certain scene that we'll mention that I just picture in my head. Like if I was making a movie about and just think like, oh, it's just about a family in a hotel. And then this happened, I'd be like, get me out of here.
Interesting. Okay. I can't wait to see what scene that would be. Again, Danny asks Wendy if she wants to live in the hotel. And she says, yeah, it'll be fine. He's a little... we get his little finger waggle.
Yeah, his friend Tony.
His friend Tony, and his voice changes, and he does a little crunch of his finger when Tony talks, kind of like a sock puppet or a hand puppet. He crunches his finger around. Tony does not want to go to the hotel.
Yeah.
And will not tell. I think he like shrugs about why he doesn't want to go. He just says he doesn't want to go or something. And Ullman explains what the job actually entails to Jack, and it's a very isolating job. This this hotel is up in the mountains. We just had this whole entire establishing scene of how far away this resort is from the nearest civilization town.
Yeah.
It's up this winding cliff. It's on the side of a cliff. It's a very picture perfect cabin in the woods, but like hotel room with like 150 rooms. It's a cabin.
Literally like half a mile up is the peak of this mountain. Like they are literally at the top of this fucking mountain with like the snowy top, maybe a 15-minute hike from the entrance of the hotel, like up to the very top.
It's so close. So much, and like they're so high up that when it snows, the road going down and coming up is just closed. This place closes from November to May 1st or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I know it opens May 1st, but I can't remember when it closes. It closes obviously before the first snow, so maybe it's in October actually. It's set in Colorado, so this whole thing is like, you and your family are going to be up here by yourselves. Emergency services are not going to be able to get here in 10 minutes. You're going to be lucky if they can get here the next day if there's a blizzard. I need you to understand, like, this is an isolating job.
He also talks about the fact that this job is specifically so isolating and can drive people crazy because that did happen. The last caretaker, Delbert Grady, went crazy and took an axe to his wife and 2 girls while they were staying in the hotel. And
do they mention, because it's a big point of contention in the book, that Ullman talks about his drinking. I can't remember. Do they talk about it in the movie? Because
so it's
kind of right.
It's glossed over. So as they're showing them around the hotel, they get to the gold room, and Ullman's like, and this is where we would keep our liquor, but since it can make people crazy, like we remove it from the premises before the winter. And then Jack's just like, oh well, we don't drink anyways. And so Ullman's like, well, perfect.
Yeah.
Like that's literally all that's really mentioned
in the book. I think he says, because I thought in the movie he said he's like retired from it, so that's either in the movie or in the book. He talks about how that's all behind him and he's done with it, and like it's not that big of a deal. He also points out he's looking forward to the isolation because he's trying to write a novel.
Mm-hmm.
And what better place to do it than being isolated and having nothing to do?
Yeah.
This is where you're going to have to keep me in check with the movie because I've read half of the book.
It's fine.
So like I'm trying to think of what was the book and what was the movie.
All good.
Because it's a decent adaptation for like the first half of it.
Yeah.
Besides Jack's character, like casting Jack Nicholson was a choice. And that choice was for a Kubrick film. Like Kubrick had a different vision for what he wanted the story to be, and it makes sense for his vision. I don't necessarily agree with it because I feel like Jack has this thing in the book where I'm doing comparing and contrasting.
That's fine.
Jack has this thing in the book where throughout this whole interaction with Ullman, he keeps saying, "Oh, I'm flashing my PR smile." And Jack Nicholson does not have a PR smile. Jack Nicholson's smile is, "Oh, please don't." Like, at least the smile with Jack, him playing Jack, right? It's a very menacing, it kind of feels like the Grinch. Like, it's not a PR smile. It's a like, ugh.
Yeah, I think Kubrick definitely had Jack Nicholson in his mind for the second half character.
Yes.
Versus like, just having to make that character be okay at the start.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't even take that long.
No, it doesn't. And again, that's part of Kubrick's version of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very almost immediate with what goes on. Jack reassures Ullman that the whole cabin fever thing isn't going to happen with him. Again, talking about his writing, he says his wife won't even be upset about the whole murder situation because she's a big horror and ghost fan. She'll get a great kick out of the story itself.
Just gonna say this right now. I'm a big horror fan. I love the idea of ghosts. I'd never stay in a place that had something like that because as much as I love the idea and love watching movies and stuff about it, I don't want to live it. Even though we're gonna go live it in like a couple weeks.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's like not.
No, it's different.
Like this, you know what I mean?
Staying in a hotel for 8 months or whatever it is where people have died because they got cabin fever, I think is a different situation than going and staying in a haunted hotel for a night. Also,
a hotel from the 20s? It doesn't matter how well kept the hotel is. Shit is gonna happen in the hotel over the course of those 50 years.
It's even older than that. It was originally built in Storybook. It was... That's what we rated it. It was built in like 1902 or something.
Yeah,
And it's just gotten like renovated.
So to be
until
like
then.
70 years old, pretty much is like,
Oh, and it was built on a Native American burial ground
yeah,
where they fought off. Oh, there we didn't mention that racism in here as well. There's a whole thing with him being with Ullman explaining some stuff and being like, yeah, the Indians, we had to fight them off while we were building. It's not great.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
anyways, not to sidetrack on that movie of its fucking time in a
It's
terrible
fine.
way
It's
with
a
some
it's a
certain
product
things.
of the times.
We get a cut back to Danny, who is talking to Tony in the mirror, and Tony,
I don't want to go.
oh yeah, I don't
Something like
wanna-
that.
and tells Danny that Jack got the job.
Yeah, he's like, well, I can't remember what Danny says, but he's like, well, what if we don't go? And he's like, he got the job. He's gonna call your mom in a few minutes and tell her. And then it cuts to Wendy in the kitchen, and then she gets a phone call, and she's like, "Oh, you got the." Or no, he tells her that he's gonna be home late because he's got to like do paperwork, and she's like, "Oh, so you got the job?" And he's like, "I guess I did."
Yeah. Did you know it was, so the actor's name who plays Danny, his real name is also Danny.
Yes, I did know
He
that.
came up with the voice and the finger thing.
I love that.
That was his choice. And I think that works really well because in the book, they can obviously describe it how you see Tony.
Mhm.
But in the movie, it's really hard to portray that without special effects, really, just because of he's kind of just a dark looming figure in the side of Danny's vision sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I think having that voice and like having it externalized in a way you can visually see was like, this kid is awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
Danny continues to press Tony about why he doesn't want to go to the hotel, and we get our first flash of the iconic elevator blood scene
Yep.
at this point, which used to hold the record for most blood for a very long time, and then chapter 1 or 2 beat it, and then
Iron Lung.
Iron Lung now holds that record.
Hell yeah. I gotta watch that again.
And then we get a quick flash of the twins, iconic twins, a bunch of iconic scenes real quick here. And then a scene of Danny screaming. And then we get white text on a black screen that says closing day.
Mm-hmm.
We are back on the long shots of the same road with that same orchestral synth, tension building music, as the whole family this time drives up to the hotel. It's a bug too, this little freaking beetle. I wish obviously it wasn't needed for the movie, but in the book they're going like 5 miles an hour because of how steep it is getting up there.
Yeah.
That Wendy is so terrified the bug is going to break down and they're not going to be able to make it. Like they have to pull off at a scenic view to give the bug a second to chill because of how bad it is.
Yeah.
Oh, Wendy brings up the Donner Party, and she's like, didn't that happen around here? And he's like, oh, that's like 10 miles west.
Danny's like, what's the Donner Party? And he's like,
he explains it really well.
yeah, it's essentially just this group of settlers got snowed in this mountain and then like
Resorted to eating each other.
resorted to cannibalism, which if y'all know anything about that cryptid lore, that's usually the way that people transform into Wendigos.
Mm-hmm.
Does not add to the hell that lives on this mountain, but it's
something to think about when you know a little bit of lore about things.
Yeah,
This is where I put in, this is one of my big ones I don't like about this movie, the fade transitions. Why, my guy?
Yeah, they're very slow, especially like because they're the type where when you fade out on your characters, you're just kind of like sitting there watching them like smile and just kind of like nod and just like look at each other for a minute while it slowly
it feels
fades
like
out.
the old school like sitcom fades.
That's like some I Love Lucy type shit for sure, but not in a bad way. It's just like, I mean, you might find it annoying, but like it's
after
just
a while you get used to it. But the first like 3 times it happens, especially from the quote unquote future, right? From now when we have better transitioning, we just did Oculus that had amazing transitions, that when you go from that and then you go to watch this and you're just like, oh, that's rough, that's like a little jarring, that's a little, it's not
dude,
up to par of what we have now.
There's nothing like going back and rewatching like old Star Wars
Oh.
and watching the fucking PowerPoint transitions
Yes.
of like the swipe across the screen and then like the spiral out from the middle.
Oh, I
Oh
forgot
my
about that.
God, could you get any more fucking... I mean, I love it, right? It's just so charming in its own way, but God damn, man.
PowerPoint became a thing, and they're like, "Ooh, transitions."
Use better transitions.
They finally make it.
So funny.
They finally make it up to the hotel, and there's a bunch of people. There's bellboys, there's bussers, there's just everyone's helping clean up this hotel. Mr. Ullman greets them, wants to show them around, show the family, I guess. This is where I'm a little confused, because he went up there and he's like, I'm gonna be late because I gotta do paperwork and they're gonna show me around more. And then there's another show and tell when he comes back. It's also for Mrs. Torrance, right? It's also for Wendy, who wasn't up here this time, but Jack's still kind of asking questions like he didn't already see all of this, which I think is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Danny, they had to wait a second because Ullman was busy, so Danny ended up finding the game room and is playing darts by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing the whole like where you're trying to like aim, but he's not really aiming.
He's not aiming. He's just flicking his wrist 3 times before actually throwing it.
He, like,
it's super cute.
He has to climb up on... Oh, Danny, if you don't know, I don't know, this is a pretty standard movie, but Danny's like 5. So when we talk about Danny, he's like a child.
We're talking like Mickey Mouse cardigans and shit like that, you know, like little wee tot, you know.
So he climbs up on the stool to get the darts that are only on the bottom half of the dartboard. He can't make it very high. And he stops and he like whips around and the twins are in the doorway of the game room.
So this, I think it's this one. In this scene, he grabs the darts and then he turns his head and looks. And when he turns and looks and sees them, the camera zooms in on his face super quick and hard and slams you in like right next to him. That kind of simple transition or camera work is so good because it's not like a cut, you know, it's not this weird, it's just some dude zooming in on the camera. But it has like such a visceral effect. It's
a very old school way to do it. I got called out for this when I was working in marketing, that I would do these kinds of like zoom in shots when we were filming some B-roll. And my friend was like, wow, you do watch a lot of horror movies, because that's an old school like 70s horror movie thing they would do, is like that kind of quote unquote transition, for a lack of a better term, of you zoom in or you zoom out. And I'm like, it just gives you dimension in the shot.
Kubrick zooms in on Danny's face because he wants you to really see how fucking freaked out this kid is.
Yes.
And it works. It gave me the goosebumps because I did not remember that happening, but it just like happens and you're like, whoa, holy shit.
I didn't realize how often we see the twins in the first part of this movie. Like, I only remember seeing... It's been a while since I've seen this movie. Yeah. This isn't a movie in my regular rotation of horror movies. I thought we saw them more in the latter half, but I wouldn't say this movie cranks it to 11 to begin with. It's off-putting. It's at like a 3, where something just underneath the current is unsettling, like with the music and these transitions and Danny, but Tony mostly, and just kind of this underlying issue, and then Jack Nicholson's performance as Jack.
Well, even the hotel, I mean, talk about mazes. You know, it's funny because this is one of the few times where I feel like you kind of do have a sense of where you're at in the hotel, just because from their bedrooms to the kitchen to like where Jack works to the front entrance to the gold room, it all kind of has this distinct look. We may not know how characters quite get there, but it all kind of just makes sense. And so it doesn't feel like grave encounters where you're I mean, it can, but it's like a familiar loss where it's like, I'm stuck here in this never-ending backroom sort of feeling situation, but like...
It's less jarring, I think.
Yeah.
Is because it feels like everything but their apartment that they're staying in is on the first floor, right? From the lobby, I feel like you take a right and you go down that way, and that's where the ballroom is. Yeah. And if you take a left, that's where the kitchen is and the cold storage and that kind of stuff. And then you can cut around. The bedrooms
are like up those main stairs where Jack works,
which is kind of like a second
like
lobby,
down a hall, and then like through some doors. Yeah, yes. Like it all you can kind of map it in your head, even though you never. Well, actually, no, that's not true. You see a couple times where you follow characters from one room to the other, so you kind of do get to map out the hotel a little bit.
A little bit, but I wouldn't say you get to map it out enough to feel like you know where you are. Kind of like
I think I could get from Jack's workroom to the kitchen, and that's about it.
Kind of like Sinister, where you have a rough idea where everything is, but some scenes you're like, I have no idea how they just got there.
Yeah, like, I thought you were close to your office. Isn't that... Wait, okay. Yeah, like, the house feels like a maze, you know. This feels like a maze, but it's more familiar in a way. I don't know.
Maybe it's just like the warm wood, because it's like a rustic lodge cabin type thing, like for a resort.
It's probably just the cozy overtones that shed off from the decor, but I don't know.
Mr. Halloran shows up and he takes Wendy and Danny to look around the kitchen, showing her where all of the food is. There is so much food. They are welcome to eat all of it. He ends up calling Danny Doc, and Wendy's like, how'd you know we called him that? And he's like, oh, I must have heard it. And this is Scatman.
Scatman Crothers. I love this man.
He was so excited to get this role, and then he was so sad about what happens to his character.
I love him in this movie because he's just so, like, gentle, chill, and he's very understanding. And I think, like, that kind of, you would be the cook, you would be the chef, because you just want to make people's tummies all full and warm, and, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, but he's not like a big fat chef. It's Scatman Crothers, you know, he's just he's a very calming presence in this kind of chaotic family we've been thrown into. And I hate that they call him a cook, because he's like the head chef. And they always call him a cook, and it was like, I feel like that's a like underlying racism thing there, where instead of calling him the head chef at this fancy ass resort, they're calling him a cook. Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy that. But there's so much food. He asks Danny if he likes lamb. There's
yeah, he opens the walk-in freezer, 40 10-pound boxes of hamburgers, like
6 goose,
a shit
ducks.
ton of steaks, like 40 turkeys, 30 chickens. I mean, you know, and this is just the freezer, so he's like going over all the stuff that's in here, and then he goes in and shows them the pantry, and it's stocked with peanut butter, crackers, jellies, cookies, like, you know, all this stuff. But as he's showing them the dry food storage, there's this like really high pitched whining that starts to pick up, and it gets louder and louder and louder. And then it focuses in on Danny, and Danny looks up at Halloran, and it zooms in on Halloran's face, and he looks over at Danny, and without opening his mouth,
because he's talking to Wendy.
He's talking to Wendy about all the stuff that's in the walk-in dry storage. Like, with his mind, essentially, he asks Danny, do you like ice cream? And then, like, the
sound stops,
the whining goes away, and it stops, and he's just continuing on talking to Wendy. He's like, we got 40 cans of tuna and all these tomatoes and mixed fruit and cans, and like he's just going off still.
He says that they could have a different meal every day for a year and they'd be set.
Yeah.
They like never repeat a meal.
Which is lit.
I mean, it's a fancy resort, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, half that stuff I probably wouldn't even touch. I don't know how to cook lamb.
Well, I think, honestly, if you were stuck in there for that many months with nowhere to go, wouldn't you like take that time to learn?
I guess it would depend. I feel we don't get a lot of what Jack actually has to do here, right? In the book, they explain it more. He's supposed to be taking care of the roof. He's supposed to be checking the boiler very often.
Yeah.
Cycling through heating the hotel to make sure nothing breaks. And there's a lot of upkeep that he has to do. And that's why they hire a live-in housekeeper because they are a caretaker for this time, because he also has to shovel snow off the roof. He has to make sure nothing's collapsing.
Yeah. Another reason why I like the book, because like there's just so much more that goes into the hotel itself. Mm-hmm. And
the hotel itself kind of feels like its own, like kind of like Oculus with the mirror. It's its own character in 100%. Such an interesting way. And where I feel like, because of what we'll get into here in a second, it feels like it kind of takes away from the hotel being its own character.
I still feel like the movie does a good job of portraying the hotel having not like a personality, but, you know, being an entity as a whole. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe that's just me, but like when I think of just a lot of shit that happens, and then the way that things go down later between, you know, Jack and some other shit, it just kind of leads you to think that there's like, it's not necessarily the people of the past from the hotel. Like, it's more than that are kind of taking fucking people and adding them to the collection of the hotel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I definitely agree. Like, in the book, it's way more personalized. Like there's like a character there almost, when Jack's walking around and taking care of the hotel, there's like this humanity that he puts into it that almost like he gets back in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how else to explain it, especially because it's been a while since I've read it. But so when I talk about it, a lot of it is based off of the feeling of like what I remember, or maybe like snippets.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk about certain parts of the book because I don't know when they happened.
Yeah.
All I can tell you
also need to
is
read the book.
You're probably going to love the ending.
I'm going to talk about this. Yes, I talked about this a lot yesterday when this comes out. I just don't like Stephen King's writing style. I struggle a lot with a lot of his books because I feel like his editor is just like, oh, it's a Stephen King novel, I don't care, and lets him get away with a lot of shit that I feel like if the editor actually looked at it and said, hey, we don't need 3 pages of description, these books would be better. Sometimes they just feel like a slog to get through, and I don't care about all of the sex that people have in these books. I don't care. I don't want to hear about your wife's seed leaking down through her thighs, okay? I don't care. Ugh.
Yeah.
Your seed, I hate that term so much. Wasn't relevant at all.
Oh, God.
Anyways, Halloran and Danny are sitting down eating ice cream while Jack and Ullman, came to collect Wendy to show them the snowcat and some of the other stuff. This is the scene.
It's a very iconic scene, too.
Yes. Danny and Halloran talking took 88 reshoots to get.
Jesus.
It's the shot of Halloran's, like, kind of mini monologue that took 148 takes.
Damn.
Yes.
Is that just because Scatman couldn't get it right?
No, it's just because Kubrick's a perfectionist.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yep.
I can't even imagine, because they sit down and they talk. He starts to ask Danny a bunch of questions like, oh God, I can't even remember.
Do you know anyone who can do what we can do? Did you know there's other people? He explains what Danny's thing is, and you didn't know Danny had a thing really until Halloran talked to him via mind, but Halloran explains it as the shining.
I'd say the shine. They kind of give you a little bit when he like
the vision thing
calls out the fact that his dad's going to call on the telephone in a second.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Tell about the job. And then also he has a vision of, the
elevator and
this shit twins. And the girls, which we've all, by this point, like also seen in the hotel on top of his vision. So
yeah, it's
they do feed it to you. It's just
I forgot about those things. It's a second sight type thing. He has a little bit of not telepathy.
His grandma called it the shining.
Yeah. And you can train the shine, and everyone has it, but
he's
more
like,
people have access to it.
Yeah, he's like, me and my grandma used to sit and have whole conversations without ever opening our mouths. He talks about, he asks about Tony. He's like, do your parents know about Tony? It's like, yeah.
Oh, because Danny doesn't want to talk about it, and he's like, why don't you want to talk about it? And Danny says, I was told not to.
That's
and
right.
Halloran says, by who? And then he starts explaining Tony as this little boy that lives in his mouth.
He's like, did Tony tell you anything about this hotel? Because I think Danny at one point asked him, like, are you afraid of this hotel? Halloran's like, he doesn't quite answer it fully. He essentially talks about the fact that
when things happen, there's a trace left behind.
Yeah.
And this hotel is old enough.
Enough people have been through that those traces, people like them are able to see these traces more clearly, like a picture on a page or on the television, whereas most other people can't. But he's like, it's not real though. They're just visions of the past.
Or future.
Or future, he says. Yeah. He's like, just how you can see things that may come, you can also see things that have already happened.
Danny then asks about room 237.
Is that why you're afraid? Something creepy about room 237. And then Halloran's tone kind of shifts and he's like, well, you should know nothing about that anyways. And don't you ever go in that room.
There's nothing in there. There's no reason you should be in there, and you're going to stay out of there. We get the black screen with the white text that
Chekhov's
says
hotel room.
Yeah, there you go. We get a month later, and there's no snow yet. Danny the first time we get this, the missus was listening, and she's like, what the hell was that sound? So I was watching it on my laptop, and it's because he's riding on the hardwood floor, and then he hits the carpet and the hardwood, and that dude, this scene, this is my scene where I'm just like, yes. I love the way it's shot. I love the sound of the big wheel hitting the tile and hitting the carpet, and just the way it works. This was filmed with like one of the original. Do you know what a Steadicam is?
Is it just like one of those that's like on a track that you can like?
No, so it's like a.
It's got like the bouncers.
It's like a thing you
on
hold,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you hold it and it goes like
it's kind of
this.
like what people sports.
Yeah.
Games.
Yes, exactly.
So
you can run and
can't think of the words. Yeah.
Sports games, people. Sports videographers. Yeah, they use them. So it was if not the original, one of the original Steadicams, and they had a guy in a wheelchair, and then he had it 3 inches from the ground.
Oh my god!
And had to like hold it, and they just had to wheel him and like keep up with Danny.
That's so good though, because
the angle of this is so good.
It's a behind shot of Danny, and he's in a little tricycle. He just starts fucking cooking it through the main
lobby and like Colorado room is what they call it.
Yeah, through the Colorado room. He like takes a couple turns down a hallway, rides through the kitchen, takes another turn, and the whole time this is one continuous shot just following him through the halls. And this is the shot that made me think, I could probably tell you how to get to Jack's workroom to the kitchen, because you just follow where Danny went.
Yes. We cut from this to Wendy having the room service cart and making a whole ass like continental breakfast for Jack.
Yeah.
Homie couldn't be any less enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, she comes in and he's like, "Oh, what time is it?" She's like, "Oh, like 11:30.
We've been staying up late. How about you take me on a walk later? We want to go check this stuff out." And he's like dipping bacon in over easy eggs. And he's like, "Well, I think I ought to write first." And it's the tone of voice and it's the facial expressions that do it for me, where his like eyebrows shoot up and he's just like,
"Oh, Jack Nicholson's eyebrows are separate paid actors in this movie."
Oh, yeah.
100%.
They hold a lot of weight to them.
And I don't mean that in like a dumbass way. I mean that in an amazing way of like, that dude can convey so much with just his face.
Mm-hmm.
It's so legit, which again is why like I do think he was a great choice for the role. I think that it was hard to capture the initial chillness of Jack with Jack Nicholson, but overall like I just can't imagine the end result with someone else. You know what I mean?
It's like my gripe with most Batmans that have ever been cast. They're either a really good Bruce Wayne or a really good Batman. There's no one that really does both well.
Yeah.
And I think that was the problem with Jack as well, that it's such a dichotomy that finding someone who can do both well was probably really rough.
Yeah. God, now that I think about it, it's like I really like Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne.
But his Batman
leaves a lot to be desired.
Exactly.
I still love those movies, especially like, The Dark Knight. I mean, Heath Ledger, goddamn, like he left behind a almost masterpiece of a fucking film.
No, he's probably one of my favorite Bruce Waynes, but his Batman sucks.
But like Adam West Batman.
Love Adam West Batman.
They fucking kill it.
He's my favorite Batman,
yeah.
okay?
Okay, sidetracking over. This is a long ass movie, so we gotta.
So Jack does the whole, I gotta write first. So she's like, "Oh, okay, like, you just gotta get back in the habit of writing. I'm sure you'll be good at it." And he's like, "Yeah, just habit of writing every single day." And it's such a backhanded comment. Like, I do not like Jack. She ends up taking Danny outside, and they are gonna go explore the hedge maze, which is the most iconic thing, probably, besides, for me, of the Overlook Hotel, the hedge maze, which is not in the book. This is a movie exclusive.
It's also not even in the first shot.
It's not.
Coming up the mountain in the beginning of the movie. That's a continuity error that has obviously been acknowledged a bunch of times. But yeah, the hedge maze just isn't there in that first shot.
The theorists online point to it as it being part of Jack's downfall. That it never actually existed ever. And I was like, that doesn't make sense because Wendy and Danny participate in the maze.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. The hedge maze, Kubrick was not impressed when they first did it. And he's like, no one's going to find this scary, until he got lost in it. Cast and crew both had maps because people kept getting lost in it.
Well, that's fair. Yeah. Because we briefly, when Allman is showing them around the premises, before everyone leaves, he mentions, he's like, I love it in there, but only if I have like an hour of free time to be able to find my way out.
Mm-hmm. It's a very big maze.
It is a big maze, and it is one of those that maybe has like 2 solutions, 3 solutions maybe.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But even then, freaky. Again, a lot of like, I think this scene especially gets carried by the music, because when they go up to the entrance of it, the music just gets all fucking eerie and it's that heavy synth of just like that up and down, and oh man. Later the music just gets discordant and becomes like vocal chanting sometimes like harmonizing, but weird pitch raises. Like it's just, the sounds in this movie are fucking weird.
I was thinking of some of these scenes and trying to picture them without music, and I was like, I agree with you. The music really carries this movie in the best kind of way. Mm-hmm. Like, they're wonderful choices for this movie, very specific choices for the movie that adds so much onto the scene.
The sinister tones are just sprinkled throughout every scene. Mm-hmm. Very, very nonchalantly, but enough to hit.
Jack takes over the Colorado room, which again is like a side lobby, kind of, is the best way I can describe it. It's like a big room with a bunch of plush chairs and a fireplace. It would be one of those places where you could sit and relax if you're waiting for your car, or if you're just waiting for, maybe after breakfast, sit and chat. People could smoke in the lobby, so maybe you come out here to smoke. Jack
got a big staircase leading up to the second floor.
Yeah. Jack takes one of the long tables and puts his
typewriter, a pack of Marlboro Reds, and an ashtray.
And doesn't write. He grabs a tennis ball and starts throwing it at a wall.
Yep.
Which terrifies me. There's so much like fragile art and stuff around. Like, could not be me.
I thought about that too. I was like, that's just not. That's sketchy, bro.
Especially like if he broke something. Like, dude,
who the fuck you gonna blame it on, bro?
I guess Danny, and then it's worse, and it's just, I don't know. He took this job because they're hurting for money, and just being so reckless in a super expensive hotel just could not. He ends up walking around a little bit. He throws his ball and like loses it, and he walks into the lobby proper, and there is a recreation of the hedge maze.
Yeah, like a little scale model.
When
people to look at in the lobby, whatever.
He walks up to it and looks down, and we get this top-down shot of it, and this was the only VFX shot, special effects, whatever you want to fucking call it, of the zoom in of the hedge maze, and then in the center you can see little figures that are Wendy and Danny running around in the center of the maze.
Yeah, it's very creepy. This is a long-hanging scene, because it very slowly zooms in towards the middle of the maze, but it just gets you to feel like you're looking at all the paths and you're seeing how complex this thing is, and imagine how big it is. Just makes you feel that, I don't want to get lost in there.
It makes me wonder how long it took them to get out.
Yeah.
I mean, they have like all day and whatever, but still. It's just a big one.
Sorry.
We get Tuesday plastered on the screen.
Tuesday.
Danny is riding around on his big wheel again, and he zooms down a hallway and then stops and then looks over. And we just passed room 237.
He's like looking over his shoulder, just staring at the number. He gets up off his trike, slowly walks over to the door, and he turns the knob a couple times, only to find that it's locked. He walks back towards his trike, but he does like a triple take. It's like every step or two he takes, he does like a quick look, like a snap back to look at the door, and then like move a couple more steps and then look back at it again. And as soon as he gets on his trike, he like pushes a wheel to start getting it going. Then he fucking books it down the hall as fast as he can.
That was such a weird scene for him to like grab a wheel and like force it.
Yeah,
like,
but I think like to me that just express like as a child when you just want to like get out, you want to just move. You're like fucking move like
everything move.
Like my legs aren't doing enough, so I need to have like my hands start this to make it go even faster, on top of my legs kind of thing. Like I don't it's fair. Just like one of those like I want to get the fuck out of here kind of moves.
Jack is riding in the lobby at a pretty steady pace. You get the echoing cadence of his typewriter. I love the sound of typewriters. It's one of the reasons I have a mechanical keyboard. I love that sound.
Oh yeah, the tack.
Wendy comes into the room and asks how it's going, and he instantly rips out his sheet of paper from the typewriter and he's like, "It's going," and he's portraying, he's vibing an asshole. Yeah. Every instance of this conversation, he's giving off the "fuck you" vibes. Why the fuck you here, bitch? And I say that because he literally tells his wife to get the fuck out and never fucking bother him when he's writing. And I put those cuss words in there with that emphasis because he says it now.
This is actually another kind of famous scene because he's like, every time you come in, you distract me, and he like hits himself on the head, and he's like, and I have to back into it, and he starts ripping up the page, and he essentially tells her like, if you hear me tacking in here, or you don't, if you just know that I'm in here, don't fucking bother me. And you're just like,
start right fucking now.
Yeah.
Oh, she was like, she was making sure he was okay, and then she was offering to bring him some sandwiches, and then was hoping to read a little bit of what he wrote. It wasn't even anything crazy. You fucking dipshit of a man. Ugh. Yeah. I found, while I was doing my research for this movie, an article or a blog post where it was like the most abusive character in cinema history, and Jack was the first one.
Yeah, 100%. I don't remember, they probably didn't portray for some reason, my mind went to grown-up Beverly's boyfriend from It.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think he'd be the worst. Just like, but I mean, he's not like a main character, so I guess if you're going off of like protagonists or like, main characters, Jack is definitely that. But of the worst, just in general, I think there's way worse.
Dude, we have enough movies and characters in our repertoire of things we've done that I'm like, we should do a tier list stream.
Oh, we should. If you guys think that's a great idea, join our Discord and let us know.
Let us know. Oh, on that note, we were supposed to stream today as well, and that didn't happen. Obviously, we had an injury on deck, and with my current work schedule, we will not be able to film at a decent time or stream at a decent time this week, and we don't think we'll be able to stream next week, but we're hoping the weekend after that we'll have another Resident Evil live stream. Maybe if we're lucky, we can do 2 next month, make up for this, because I really want to play.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Is the thing is like, we want to stream for you guys, but we also very much just enjoyed playing.
Yeah.
So that's also something I'll mention again at the end of the episode. But anyways, we get this is like the creepiest shot to me from this movie of Jack Nicholson. Wendy and Danny are playing out in the snow because it finally snowed, and he's in this turtleneck sweater. His eyes like tilt up, and he's just like menacingly looking down,
staring out the window at them.
And he's got this creepy smirk on his face.
He's like slack-jawed at first, and then he cracks the smallest little smile. I mean, if you didn't pay attention, you wouldn't notice it, but like, it's genuinely the smallest little change. But it hits so hard. It's so
icky.
It's so good though. Oh man, it just, again, it sucks because they don't give you a glimpse into Jack's head in the movie, so you don't have a good idea of his descent into madness. If you read the book, you understand.
You understand his thought process. You understand what's going on. You get POVs of all 3 of them, which is very helpful. I think it's almost redundant at some points, but it does really help when they're finally in the hotel and with things going on, and with Tony and Danny and that whole dichotomy or partnership and stuff. It's just,
Stephen King is very good at giving you multiple perspectives. I mean, it is like a perfect example. Like the book itself, you are thrust into the perspective of every character.
I think it does it better. I'm going to say it does 100%. It better than The Shining.
100%.
Because it's like third person omniscient.
Yes.
So it's a very weird thing where I struggle a lot with Danny's POV because he'll be like, and mommy is so pretty in that blue sailor dress with all, and like is using adult language because it's third person omniscient, but it's technically still from Danny's point of view. So I struggle a lot with that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I love multiple character POV.
Yeah.
It's probably one of my favorites in books because I love knowing what other people are talking about.
Yeah. Well,
and thinking.
I mean, it expands almost anything that you put it into at least 3 times. Yeah. It's like,
I've definitely mentioned this before, but the second Percy Jackson series, that POV switch between all of the heroes, Oh, it's so good because
I still gotta read those.
you got to read them, man. I feel like the first series I didn't like as much, but it sets up the second series so well, and I love the second
I
series.
need something to just like spark my drive to read again.
So we're on Saturday now. Again, white text or black screen, white text.
Saturday.
The hotel is pretty much buried in snow at this point. It's up to the second story windows. It is one of the worst storms Colorado has seen in years.
So cozy though.
Oh,
like
dude.
if I think about being in a wood lodge with a fire going and there just being so much snow, when it snows, everything just turns gray. Like the whole sky, it all just like blends into one color of this like dark kind of like relaxing tone, and you know,
Other people call it gloomy, and I disagree.
With the warmness of the fire, like
nice cup of cocoa.
It's just so comforting, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
What I was talking to my wife about this, and I was like, this is my dream. Just to be a caretaker in the middle of winter and not have to deal with anybody, and there's a fully stocked fridge that you never have to go grocery shopping for, and you're just like doing manual labor tasks. Like, this is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it'd be beautiful. As long as, you know, as long as it wasn't actually haunted.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like this might have gone without the hauntedness for like quote unquote cabin fever. I think if Danny was older, they probably could have combated it like fine, like had a teenager that you could have like a third person to talk to and just have more interaction with. I think they were a little, without the supernatural aspect, underprepared for everything they would need to not be bored.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, Jack has his writing, but how well is that actually going, you know? He is typing in the lobby. Wendy is in the switchboard room and is trying a bunch of different jacks, trying to get a signal to anybody, and she's like, I knew it, and she grabs her cigarette and she's smoking down the hall, and she's just like stomping her way over to Ullman's office where the emergency radio is. She calls the Forest Service station, who say, it's a really, really bad storm, the lines are down, you know, ma'am, please keep your radio on at all times right now. We don't know how long they're going to be down for. Everyone's saying they might be down till May. She's like, oh, okay, well, thank you. And Danny is riding around the hotel again. He turns a corner and sees the twins. The iconic scene of the twins of, come play with us, Danny, forever and ever and ever.
Ugh.
And it's cutting between the twins standing there holding hands and them being hacked on the floor with blood everywhere.
Yeah.
And this part, like, knowing that Danny didn't see those things.
This is the scene where I think to myself, if I was a little child doing this movie and I turned that corner and saw that, I'd be like, I want to go home.
The twins or the hacked to bits twins?
Just the twins.
Well, like, I mean, he's seen the twins, I feel like, enough at this point that it's not...
I think maybe they, like, met on set.
Oh, they definitely...
So,
they for sure met on set, but, like, just... I actually don't know.
I'm not sure, because like part of me thinks that if Stanley Kubrick was wanting a bit of genuine reaction out of him, then maybe
we only see his reaction shots. We never see him reacting. That's why I don't think because he didn't know. So I'm curious to know what they told him to get those reactions out of him for those scenes, because he had no idea he was filming a horror movie. Yeah,
like for Passing Room 237, where they just like, you don't like that room, it scares you, but you want to stop and check it out?
See, that's what, like, my thing with some of these scenes. If he didn't know he was filming a horror movie, his screams and his, like, panicked looks, like, what do you tell a kid to get those panicked looks?
Yeah, like, later on, there's, you know...
Yeah.
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 We'll talk about it when we get there. I don't want to say because spoilers, and I don't want to give you more work to cut out, so we'll get there.
The scenes of the twins being... Oh, you're good.
I know I'm moving a lot.
It's
We're going to have to cut that, but...
Stretch out. We got to make sure you live. Okay, so back to this.
Back to the movie. Holy shit.
The hotel is practically buried in snow. He's in the lobby typing. Wendy's at the switchboard. She calls over to the forest station. I wonder how much I'm going to have to keep in for this restructure to make sense. He turns the corner, sees the twins, blah, blah, blah. Cuts between normal twins and bloody twins. Tony tells Danny, remember, it's not real. Remember what Halloran said. It's just like a picture book. These can't hurt you. And then we get Monday.
Remember, it's just like Halloran said.
Can you imagine if your kid like had an imaginary friend and that was the imaginary friend's voice. Like, that's terrifying.
I would take them to the imaginary friend store and tell them to find a new one.
This is where you will start watching Foster's Home for Imaginary Friend and you say, pick a new one, any of them. Pick
honestly.
cheese for all I care.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Danny sneaks into, I call it a flat. I don't know why I went with a flat. This isn't a British thing. It sneaks into their apartment, right? Which is a room that's dedicated. It has a specific, it's living quarters, right? For the caretaker. And so he sneaks in there and I'm like, why the hell are you sneaking into your own place? And then it's because Jack is sitting there in his robe, staring at nothing, being really creepy.
Well, yeah, so there's like a scene where Danny and Wendy are watching a movie or something on a TV in front of a window. Yeah, this is why he goes to sneak into the room.
I totally don't have that in my notes.
Oh. Yeah, so it's Danny and Wendy sitting there watching a movie and he's got like a bunch of toys on the carpet and he's playing with them. And he's like, Mom, can I go get my little red fire engine? And she's like, no, your dad's asleep right now. He just fell asleep. Can't you wait a few more hours? And he's like, I promise I'll be quiet. I won't make a peep. I'll tiptoe. I promise. And she's like, well, as long as you're super quiet. And so he starts running off and she's like, but be back soon because I'm going to make lunch here soon.
Oh,
and that's why he goes to sneak into his room because he doesn't want to wake his dad.
I had didn't see it. Okay, so that makes more sense.
Yeah,
that he's sneaking in.
He just wants to go get his little red fire.
Because he does tell Jack that he's like, "May I please go to my room and get my fire truck?"
Yeah,
and he's like, "Come here first." He's like, ugh.
Yeah, he walks up. The door to Jack and Wendy's flat is open, and he's like walking by. He looks at his dad, and his dad turns his head and looks at him, and he's like, "Can I go get my red fire truck?" And Jack's like, "Come here a second." And you can tell that Jack is out of it, whether it's the lack of sleep or something. Like he's just like off.
It kind of a hangover type thing, where it's not like you're in the pain hangover, but it's like if you woke up still kind of drunk.
Days.
Yeah, it's like the weird days where someone's not fully there.
Like your head's just really fuzzy. You'll kind of have to either take a second to really take in what someone said, or you have to have them repeat themselves, like that kind of fuzz.
Yeah.
But Danny walks over and he crawls in Jack's lap, and Jack holds him and hugs him.
They talk a little bit until
he's like, "I love you, son." He's like, "Do you like it here? Or are you having fun?" I think he asks if you're having fun.
If he likes the hotel.
Yeah.
He's like, "Do you like the hotel? I want you to like it here. Are you having fun?" And he's very persistent about the hotel.
Yeah.
And he also, because Danny also asks, "Are you feeling okay?" And he says, "I'm just tired." And Danny says something weird. And this is like his whole sixth sense thing that he has never been mentioned to Danny, but he picks up on it. And then he asks, he's like, "You would never hurt me or mommy, would you?" And Jack gets so defensive. He's like, "Is your mother telling you these things?"
Yeah. I hate to do this now. There was a scene that we forgot to talk about. After Danny has those visions in the bathroom, his mom has a doctor come and see him.
I didn't see that either. Did you watch an extended version? Because
No.
that wasn't there either.
I just clicked on the movie on Amazon and it was just...
So is that why you kept... So the movie I watched was an hour and 59-ish minutes, give or take, and you said it was...
like 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, mine was only an hour 59. So I'm missing scenes.
I didn't see... it never said extended cut or anything like that.
Well, go ahead.
I also remembered those scenes. So... after he has the vision in the bathroom, Wendy has this house doctor come and check on him. She's talking to Danny and asking what he remembers before passed out or whatever. And then she asks about Tony. She's like, "Who's Tony?" And he's like, "Oh, Tony's the little boy that lives in my mouth." And she's like, "Oh, so if you open your mouth, can I see Tony?" And he goes, "No." And he shakes his head and she's like, "Why not?" And he's like, "Because he would run away and hide in my stomach." So the doctor starts talking to Wendy, being like, "When did Tony come about?" And she's like, "Honestly, I think I remember it coming about shortly after an injury that he had."
Oh, so that gets mentioned previous.
Yes. And the doctor's like, "This injury, tell me about it." And Wendy's like, "Jack, my husband, Danny's father, he was a bit of an alcoholic. And one night, he came home late. It was about 3 hours later than he said, and Danny had made a mess or gotten into something, and, you know, just as any parent would without violence or hate, he just accidentally used a little too much energy and pulled his shoulder from his socket. But he didn't do it on purpose, and Wendy is very, like,
defensive for him.
Defensive and, like, deflective of, like, the concept of abuse, you know, being like, he would never do that. Like, this was just a matter of he was drunk and he didn't realize how much force he used, so it was an accident. The reason I bring this scene up is because this whole idea is kind of reinforced in this current scene where we are now, where Jack and Danny are talking. Danny says this and is like, "You'd never hurt me and mommy, would you?" And he's like, "Is she still talking shit? Like, she won't let that shit go," you know?
That makes a lot more sense, because in the version I watched, it's not mentioned, the accident isn't mentioned until the bar.
Oh yeah, no, it's like mentioned in the beginning.
Which for me, oh dude, you good? Funny bone?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. It just like jolted my shoulder more than anything.
Oof. So for me, because I am currently reading the book, I knew exactly like the context of the scene, right?
100%.
You're like, I would never hurt you. And you're like, bitch, I know exactly what you've done to this kid.
Yeah.
And so that added context makes a lot more sense for the scene.
It didn't hit, like, it didn't register in my brain that we skipped over that scene until it hit just now, because I was like, yeah, that's kind of inferred.
Well,
he's like, why the fuck is your mom still bringing this shit up? Not to say that he's justified in his anger for it, but, you know, you kind of start to piece together in your head, oh, this is why he's just like being fucking shitty. There's undertones that we don't know about necessarily, that he just thinks that she won't fucking let go of
something,
no matter how hard he's trying, staying on the wagon of being sober. You know, we find out later that he fucking hates being sober and that it's a miserable wagon to be on. So you can imagine like the resentment that's built up from that point to now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like playing into why he's acting that way towards Wendy when they're in the hotel. Not justifying it. It's shitty fucking behavior, but there's a bit of reasoning behind it.
Yeah, and it's explained a lot better in the book.
Yes.
About his resentment for Wendy. And we get to it later.
The book is so good.
We get to it later in the movie where he talks a little bit about his resentment of her.
Yeah.
But in the book, by I think chapter 5, we get a whole scene about how he's like, nothing's even mine anymore. Even our bank account's joint. And she would take that kid in a heartbeat, and that kid's mine. Like, it's rough.
There's so many layers to it that we don't get in the movie. I mean, we get a few, but
I'm really curious about the 4-hour-long one, because I think that one like is
I think the 4-hour-long one is like
strict adaptation, because it opens with the interview on that one. Like, I started watching it and I was like, that's not Jack Nicholson. What am I watching?
Yeah, I wonder. I do want to watch it because that would make me think that is the one that Stephen King prefers.
It does say Stephen King's The Shining
exactly.
on it, so I wonder if he produced it at all.
If that's the one he prefers, but it might, like, the story might be portrayed a lot more closely to the book in that version.
If you guys are interested, the 4-hour version is on Tubi for free. We get Wednesday now. Danny is playing with his trucks in the iconic flooring, keyhole type flooring, driving his trucks at like it's a little road like we all did when we were kids.
It's so cute. He like takes like a little van with a hitch and like hooks a fucking tractor to it, and then like pulls the tractor and then like flips him around, and like he's making like little noises.
He's a very self-reliant kid. He has an entire hotel and we barely see him with his parents ever. He's running around like that's also the 80s latchkey kid, right? Like he's just making his own adventure, but he's very cute about it. The tennis ball that disappeared comes back and is rolled right in front of him down this long ass hallway, and
this
he's like,
shot took like 40 to 60 shots, I think.
That would make sense
to get right. Yeah, which that one, I guess it makes sense because the way the ball rolls perfectly and symmetrically in a perfect straight line and stops perfectly right in front of him. I can imagine it took quite a few shots to get, because you know, it's just a matter of feeling it out. And Jesus Christ, that kid probably was just, you know, sitting there playing with his trucks for like 3 hours.
I couldn't imagine, again, we talked about this at the top, the strain that had to be on the actors for that many retakes over and over and over again. Like, I could never be an actor.
Well, setting the precedent for the rest of the movie, how it would go when they took the most shots on one of the earlier scenes in the movies. I don't know if they filmed them chronologically necessarily.
Yeah, I don't know with this one either.
It's usually not how movies do it. They'll kind of like go to the location, do all the scenes for that location, you know, dress the characters up in the dress, do the scene. Like if it's the same location, then they'll make sure that the costumes, they'll do all the scenes for those, whatever. You get the idea. But if they did do that scene early on, then that means the actors knew by then that for the rest of this movie, there could potentially be 100+ reshoots of every scene.
You know what the thing that sucks too, like thinking about it, like for Shelley, right? Being like, okay, I only have 17 weeks of this. I only have 17 weeks of this. And then to go on for a year.
Yeah.
Dude, good gumption. I hope you guys made a shit ton of fucking money because I could never.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, Shelley Duvall was like huge for her time. Like she was one of the biggest actresses of her time. I mean, she was Olive Oil, you know, when they fucking decided that live action adaptations were a thing.
Danny stands up and looks down this hallway, and it's a long hallway with all of these doors shut, right? Like no one's hiding around the corner. It would have taken someone sprinting to get out of view from Danny, and there's no one. So he starts calling out. This ball just
came from nowhere, and he's like, "Mom,
Mom." So he walks down the hall, and he eventually hits room 237. That the key is in the door, and the door is open. Walks in, and then it cuts to Wendy, who's doing Jack's job in the basement.
Yeah.
She's checking all of the... I'm assuming these are supposed to be the boilers I
had a very different picture in my head of what the boiler room looked like in the book versus the movie.
The 4-hour one, because I did start watching that felt a lot more like what I pictured.
Yeah.
Because this one has like a double boiler situation, and in the book it's like one big boiler.
Yeah, where it's supposed to be like the heart almost, or like the, you know.
And it's specified that it's patchworked and it will blow up any moment if you don't take care of it. And then this dual boiler situation, they look pristine and nice and like well taken care of.
Honestly, now that I think about it, this movie is definitely the proto Monster House.
Oh yeah.
Or I'd say the book more so, but like it's kind of, you know,
the house or the living quarters being the monster itself.
Yeah, it's got the feeling of it 100%. Like I think if you read the book and then watched the movie, that would be a much stronger comparison. I think it just based off the movie, like you said, it's not as
prominent.
Yeah, for the hotel to have this sort of character. But again, I still think it exists within the movie. It's just a bit, but that could just be within myself because I know that those undertones are there already. So like I might be drawing things out of scenes, you know, based off of that. I don't know.
Yeah. I compare it to just being kind of a fanfic of a movie. It's very canon, but they diverge a lot.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's a bad adaptation. Like I don't agree with Stephen King in that this is the worst adaptation ever. I think it's a fine adaptation, but it's not the most accurate. Thingy.
Yeah, 100%.
So as she's checking some like breaker button things, it looks like she hears some like moan screaming, and she looks around and she stops and she hears it again, and it gets louder. And Jack is passed out, like head on the desk, and he's like mumbling, kind of like, you know, when you just have a bad dream and you're just kind of talking in your sleep a little bit, and then it turns into like full on bloody murder screaming, and she's like, "I'm coming, Jack," and she's like booking it to where he is.
Yeah, she sprints through that fucking room.
Can I tell you the one thing that bugs me about her is that her running.
Oh yeah, it's
the quote unquote girl running where your arms are up, not where they're supposed to be.
That's the olive oil in her, I feel, is just coming out a little bit.
Oh, she does it later too, and I'm just like, girl, defensive stance. What is this? What is this doing for you?
Yeah, she's such a good actress, though. Honestly.
Oh, no shade on her. These are probably director choices that.
I didn't mean for that to sound like you were throwing shade. All things aside, she is a great actress.
Mm-hmm. She finally gets to him, and he startles falls to the ground. She kneels with him and they're talking a little bit, and he looks freaked out, saying
he's like drooling.
It takes him a second to like focus in on what's happening.
He starts crying a little bit because he's like, I had the worst nightmare I've ever had in my whole life. I had a dream that I killed you and Danny.
I hacked you both to pieces.
Yeah. He just loses it. Like, this is the worst thing he could have ever dreamed of. Which, like, yeah, this is fair. It's just,
Well, and what if you think about it in context of the hotel, do you know how visceral that dream probably was, though?
oh, like
Picture the
when
most visceral thing you could, and then it's 10 times worse.
yeah. Remember one of the most real feeling dreams you've ever had. Those feel real. So I can't even imagine being in the hotel and being influenced to the point of, it could be one of those things too, where that can feel like a week. Because, you know, the way dreams and your brain, like the way time works when it comes to that stuff. He could have been living through that hell for a long fucking time, way longer than the 20 minutes that he's been unconscious, you know, or however long he's been asleep. It just, that in and of itself is a hell. You know what I mean? Like being trapped in your own fucking mind and just, ugh.
Yeah. So it's awful. Wendy helps him into the chair and is like, you're okay, we're okay, like, we'll figure this out. And then she watches as Danny walks in and she's like, hey, honey, go upstairs, go play. And he doesn't listen, he keeps walking in. She's like, hey, did you not hear me? Like, go away, like, go play, please. And she gets Jack settled and says, I'll be right back. Like, hold on, I'm just going to take him out of the room real fast. She goes over to him and he's sucking his thumb. And then she looks and he's got these bright red bruising on the side of his neck. Obviously, there's just the three of them here. Who the fuck did this? And so she grabs Danny and is holding him and is like, you fucking did this. You did this to our kid. This is a doll. This isn't actually Danny the actor. You can tell they didn't want the kid to be in this scene for how
emotionally charged.
Yeah, it was. So she's holding like a mannequin right here as we have this scene.
That's good. The kid doesn't need to be around at 5 years old, it's hard to discern like what exactly is going on. It's very easy to just like take that kind of shit wrong. So
exactly.
Yeah, she runs out and Jack is just kind of sitting there and he's just like, oh.
He looks a little confused, but more like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And less like, I would never do that to my child, and more just, huh?
Yeah. The next shot is him walking through
the hallway to the kitchen, or by the kitchen, and he's knocking all of the, I don't know what they are.
He knocks a bunch of like bowls and just random like, you know, cookware over onto the floor. He like kicks some shit. He walks out of the kitchen and turns to continue down this other hall. That's the hall that leads to the entrance to the gold room, which is this big open ballroom with this bar, and there's like a stage in the back.
Mm-hmm. The whole time he's walking down this hall, though,
he's like thrashing his arms and like not even swearing to himself, just like mumbling incoherently. And yeah, he's just like thrashing and just like kicking randomly. It's so good. Another reason why I think Jack Nicholson is the only good choice for this movie. Any other person that I think doing that would have just like, that would have killed the tone.
The only other person, so because it's a little bit of a I laughed a little bit because I was like,
it's goofy, but it doesn't pull you out enough. I think if it was the wrong person, it would be so like just out of place. But I think because it's Jack Nicholson, it's like,
I'm thinking of the guy from Evan Almighty.
Oh, wow! I was about to say Will Ferrell. Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, I think, could also do that kind of motion.
Oh, 100%.
And I wouldn't question it, but I don't think I could see him in this type of dark role.
No, he couldn't be an asshole the way that Jack is an asshole to Wendy. You know what I mean?
Because even in The Mask, it's not that as bad as Jack.
No, and like, oh God, fucking, yeah. There's
for the body motion, he's the only actor I could picture doing it and just be like, yeah, that's fair. So Jack wanders into the ballroom and he walks up to the bar and he's mumbling to himself like, I would sell my soul for just a fucking glass of beer right now. And the entire bar is empty. Everything's been emptied, like we said earlier. We get this just shot of him talking directly at the camera. And then he's like, oh, there you are, Lloyd. And the camera flips and there's this fucking bartender and the bar is entirely stocked. And he's like, good evening, Mr. Terrace. What can I get you tonight? And he's like, I got a two 20s and two 10s burning a hole in my pocket. Like, I thought they were going to be there till next May. So every time...
He pulls out his wallet and there's nothing in there. And so
that's
he's
the
like...
next scene.
Oh, yeah. I guess
so he pulls out the wallet and he's like, how much can that get me or something? And they're like, oh, it's fine. Like, you have credit or your credit's good. It's something weird.
He asks for a bottle of whiskey and to just keep pouring.
He asks for a bottle of bourbon.
Or bourbon, yes.
And so this is where, no, you don't need to apologize. This is where my random deep dive into a movie went. Because the bartender pulls out Jack Daniels, which is a whiskey.
It's a bourbon whiskey.
It's a Tennessee whiskey. And so...
Tennessee bourbon.
It's a Tennessee whiskey. Jack Daniels is Tennessee whiskey.
What's the Tennessee bourbon then?
Okay, the thing is that Tennessee whiskey matches all of the qualifications to be a bourbon, except it's also been filtered through charcoal. Like, it's been charcoal filtered. So technically, it is a bourbon.
Interesting.
But only Tennessee whiskey. All of the other whiskeys are not classified as bourbons.
See, I thought I knew that at least, but I was like, the only bourbon that I even knew of was, Tennessee. But... Or like, yeah, I don't fucking know. I don't drink anymore, so...
I don't like the taste of bourbon. Oh, no, you're right. He does have no money in his wallet. So he asks about credit. I thought it was the next scene. The next time... I'm going to cut this. The next time he's in the bar, he does have money in his wallet, and that's the weird thing.
Yeah.
You're correct. Ignore
because he
me.
tries to give it to Lloyd in the second scene, and Lloyd's like...
Your money's no good here.
Yeah.
You are so correct. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good, dude.
So, yes, he has no money in his wallet, so he asks about his credit, and Lloyd's like, yeah, I know you're...
just fine, sir.
You have great credit here.
I love Lloyd's vibe. If he was my bartender, I would never leave. I would just sit and chat with Lloyd. I'd just be like, tell me your life.
So that's exactly what happens, because freaking Jack just starts spilling his guts about how, my wife, he like takes a drink of his whiskey and he's like, my wife.
The old sperm bank upstairs. That's what he says. That is not
what?
me. Yeah. That's
we watched like two separate movies. Continue.
No, he's literally like, Lloyd's like, hope the problems aren't too bad. And he's like, it's just problems with the old sperm bank upstairs.
That did not happen in my movie.
It's fucking wild. He starts talking about like how she just won't fucking leave the incident alone.
It was an accident.
How he just put just one extra little foot-pound of pressure, just too much. She won't ever fucking let it go. And
okay, so like the thing for your brains, people, Danny's probably 5. The incident happened 3 years ago. That will make Danny 2. He broke a 2-year-old's arm.
Dislocated shoulder.
Broken arm in book.
So, is it the same thing?
No.
Dislocated and broken?
No. Dislocated shoulder is when you pop this out, he snaps his forearm in the book.
Oh, in the book, yes, that's right. But when Wendy's talking about it to the doctor, she says it's a sprain or a dislocation or something like that. It wasn't a break.
Because here he says he broke his arm. So I think that might have been Wendy trying to deflect, saying it was lesser than it actually was.
Yeah.
Because
he did break his arm. I remember.
Yeah, he snaps his arm, and like children are springy at that age. Their bones aren't fully developed very much. Like that's
like kids are made of rubber, dude. But you can't just
and
like they can still break.
So in the book, it's described that Danny got his play papers, threw them all over the place, and then spilt like beer or something on top of them. And he looks at Danny and describes it as his important, smug look that he was just so proud of what he had done.
I remember that.
And I'm just, it's a 2-year-old, my guy. He's happy to see his dad.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, I know.
Fuck this man.
God, I forgot that's what he says in the book. Yeah.
So, do you see why I have no sympathy for this man in the movie or the book? Like, fuck you. You broke your kid's fucking arm. And
no sympathy. It's better in the book to have more perspective. That does not mean that he's a better guy in the book.
No, I feel more sympathy for Wendy in the book than I do in the movie. In the movie, Kubrick wanted a codependent, no backbone woman, which makes sense for this type of character. Like, he wanted a wife, so he got a wife. He got a wife that defaults to the man, your stereotypical housewife. But in the book, she has a whole like backstory about how she thought about leaving him after this incident, and then it was either choosing between an abusive husband and an abusive mother.
Yeah.
So I feel more sympathy for Wendy in the book than I do in the movies. Wendy comes running down the hall into the ballroom with a bat gripped at the top of the bat, not at the handle. And as soon as she hits the ballroom, she's calling for Jack, and there's no Lloyd, there's no alcohol, it's just an empty ballroom again. She
starts freaking out, telling him, like, there's somebody here, there's another person in the hotel. She choked Danny.
There's a crazy woman who choked Danny in room 237.
And Jack kind of looks at her like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And I think he even say, like, are you fucking crazy?
Yeah.
She retells Danny's story about how he went into the room and a crazy woman strangled him. It then cuts to Halloran, who is watching the news, and the news it's breaking news with Colorado getting the worst storm they've had in years. It's super, super bad. And
the camera's like slowly zooming out away from his TV. He's just got this picture of a shirtless black lady with the biggest afro I've ever seen.
Yep. It's like this big frame poster.
In like a pose, yeah. And it's just so good because then it like cuts to his face and he's like sunken into his bed.
In a like red robe and just like...
Yeah, in a robe, just laying there like zoned in on the fucking TV. And it slowly zooms out of that view away from him. And there's another different picture of another naked black lady above him. And I'm just like, man's got a fucking vibe. Like, I appreciate it.
He's a bachelor.
Yeah.
He's got his shit down.
The Scatman Crothers knows what's up. But
the news then cuts to like talking about how Florida is like hitting a heat wave and it's super nice and humid and blah, blah, blah. He then gets a bad... the news also talks about how it's getting so bad they might have to call in the National Guard to help like clear roads. Like, it is a really, really bad storm. Halloran then looks like he has seen a ghost as he sees a vision of Danny like having a seizure, and then he sees a snippet of room 237 being open. It's like walking... You're in the perspective of the person walking into 237. And then they walk through, it's like a suite. So you kind of walk past the bed and you walk up some stairs and there's a door into the bathroom and the bathroom door opens and there's no one really there. It doesn't look like anyone's there, right? And the camera perspective changes and now we're Jack and we're staring at Jack looking into the bathroom. Perspective changes again and then you see a hand move the shower curtain, and this is our obligatory boob scene as a naked woman with her hair slicked back all wet looks out at him.
We should preface, she is a skinny, quote-unquote, attractive,
like your
blonde
stereotypical
woman,
yeah,
very skinny figure, and she just like slowly pulls the curtain out and then like looks at him for a minute. It cuts to Jack and he just gets the biggest, creepiest smile on his face.
You fucking creeper.
And she slowly gets out of the tub, just, bush and all, and starts slowly walking towards him, and then just kind of stops and stands there. And the whole time, the music and the sounds of just like, it's one of those things where it's not even like coherent beats or like rhythmic even. It's just like atonal, like high to low pitches and weird like warbles and weird vocalizations. Like it is meant to just purely make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
As he approaches her, they just stand there for a second, and then she puts her hands like on his stomach and then slowly brings them up to his chest and then over his shoulders, and then wraps her hands around his head.
Well, she goes to his neck, so kind of looks like she's about to strangle him, and then she like lets them rest behind him and like pull him in for the messiest makeout session ever.
Yeah,
like
he pulls her in like by the waist, and he's holding her, and then it cuts to a close up of them. Well, him macking. It looks like she's just sitting there like taking it, kind of. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But he's macking, and then he like takes a pause
Looks
and opens his eyes. And he looks into the mirror. It cuts to a shot of the mirror, and her back is wrinkly and
has like decaying spots on it.
Covered in like decayed flesh and just parts of like stringy.
Yeah. and she's gained a lot of weight. Her butt is sagging, and now she's an old lady.
He steps back. All of a sudden, you hear old lady cackling, and then it cuts to her, and it's this old, fucked up, gross-looking, naked lady.
It looks like she had died in the bath and like got waterlogged and was like decaying in the bathtub, and we get a scene.
We get cuts of like her cackling, walking towards him as he backs up towards the main room of that suite. Then it'll like cut to the bathtub and the old lady laying in there dead, just covered in all this gross, like decay and shit. This is one of those slower scenes that hangs. She cackles, and it takes him a minute to really like back out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to sit there and like deal.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why like this movie hit so hard when it came out.
You're sitting with it.
You're just sitting with it. Like when I think about Alien and stuff like that, it has its slow moments where they want you to feel that dread. But also, like, when the alien shows up or when something bad happens, it's not always quick. Yeah. Or it's not always slow. The alien shows up, shit happens, it's crazy, and then it's done, and people are like, what the fuck just happened? Mm-hmm. Whereas this, you're just like, get the fuck out of the room. Leave the room.
Be faster.
Eventually he does, and he, like, clambers out of the room, and he locks it, and he doesn't even take the key. He just locks the room and fucking runs.
And as soon as he's out, you can still hear the lady cackling too. He's like standing in the hallway looking at the door, and you just hear the cackling. Oh. We do get a flash of Danny having that weird like seizure struggle thing where he's like shaking his head back and forth and there's drool coming out of his mouth. And then we get a cut of Halloran, who is back obviously in his home. He's trying to call the Overlook Hotel and it can't be completed. We go back to Jack, who is in their flat, or is coming back to their flat. He has to knock on the door because Wendy locked all 3 locks and he has to knock to come back in. He tells her that there was nothing there, and Jack says Danny will be fine in the morning, and it was definitely that room because, the light was on and the door was open, but there was no one there, I promise you. He's just a child being weird. And she's like, I think we need to get him to the hospital. And he's like, when? Now? Fucking really? He loses his shit at this. Yeah. Jack says the only option is that Danny did this to himself. And Wendy's like, what do you mean? Like, he couldn't do that to himself. And he's like, it's the only other option. It wasn't me. It wasn't you. There's no one else here. He had to have done that to himself. She says, Wendy then continues, like, we need to get him help. We need to get him out of here. And this is where Jack freaks out, saying that he let her ruin his life so far, but not this time. And he slams out of the flat. He's, again, knocking a bunch of stuff over where this man just like cannot take blame for anything, and everything is someone else's fault, and he has to take it out externally. So he's knocking more shit over. He reaches the lobby, and there's some old-timey music. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's supposed to be 20s music playing in it as you're watching him come down the hallway, and then it stops, and you can see him look confused, and then the camera angle shows to show what he is seeing, and it's a hallway lined with balloons and tinsel, like a good New Year's party had just happened. So he follows the sound back into the ballroom, where it's smoky, it's filled with people smoking and having a grand time, and they're all dressed in, like, all the women are dressed in kind of that stereotypical, like, 20s, what are they called?
They have, like, the feathered, like, tiara almost things, but they're not tiaras, they're, like, headbands, flappers, yeah.
They all have, like, the flapper dresses on.
Yeah, and then, people smoking cigarettes, they have the really long black cigarette holder.
Thingy, yeah.
Very old-timey. And Jack walks in and is just like, hell yeah. Like, he starts fucking kind of strutting his stuff, being like, fuck yeah, I love being in here.
He goes up and Lloyd's still working, and this is where I got confused, and he pulls out his wallet he asks for a hair of the dog that bit me.
Yeah. He's
what
like,
does that
what'll
mean?
it be tonight, sir? It essentially means, give me the thing that caused me the pain in the past, essentially. The hair of the dog that bit me. Like, this is the shit that got me into the shit before, but I don't give a fuck. Give me the hair of the dog that bit me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so he gets a whiskey again. Well, yeah. He gets the Jack Daniels.
I'm just going to Google it. You can keep talking, but okay. I'm going to look this up.
So he pulls out his wallet, pulls out money this time, and Lloyd tells him that his money isn't good here and that he doesn't have to pay. It orders from the house. He doesn't need to pay for anything. He's like, I'm a man who likes to know who's buying his drinks. And Lloyd says, that doesn't concern you right now.
Oh, okay. So, hair of the dog that bit me is a colloquial idiom meaning an alcoholic drink consumed the morning after to cure or ease the symptoms of a hangover.
So for my family, it would be a Bloody Mary.
But that makes sense too. Like,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
you were on.
yeah,
As he's walking towards the party, kind of looking around, a waiter is walking towards him as well, and he tries to dodge a woman who's coming at him and ends up spilling 2 drinks all over Jack. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. Like, please come with me to the bathroom. I can clean you up. I'm so sorry." And we learn that the waiter's name is Delbert Grady, which strikes a chord with old Jackie boy here, who's like,
yeah. They're in the bathroom, and the waiter is like cleaning off his jacket, and he's like, "What's your name, Jeevesy?" He's
"What
like,
do they call you around here?"
Grady, Delbert Grady, and he's like, Grady, and he like takes a couple pauses, and then he like, Mr. Grady, have we met before? And he's like, no, sir, we have no. I don't believe we have ever met.
That.
And he's like, okay,
Did you used
It's
to
like-
be the caretaker?
Mr. Grady, weren't you the caretaker? He's like, no.
Not that I remember, sir.
He's like, no, you were the caretaker. And Mr. Grady's like, I don't mean to overstep my boundaries, but you were the caretaker.
You
always have been the caretaker.
I would know because I've always been here.
Yeah. What the fuck?
It goes back and forth like this for a little bit, and then Grady tells Jack that Danny is trying to bring someone from the outside to the hotel, and he's like, who the hell is he trying to bring? And this is where we get the hard N word for
Yeah.
hollering twice, because Grady says it, and then Jack says it with a question mark, like, who?
Indicating that, Halloran is now
On his way.
on his way.
Grady explains Danny has a very amazing talent, but he is trying to use it against Jack's will. And like, your children are not don't bend your children to your will. Your children are their own people.
Also, like,
You-
a 5-year-old isn't smart enough to devise a plan or, like, fucking manipulate. Like, they don't fucking know what's
Yeah.
going on.
It's not manipulation. Danny is scared,
Yeah.
and he's reaching out to the only person I don't even know if he's actually meaning to, or if just
Yeah.
because him and Holleran are kind of connected. I don't know if it's Holleran reaching out and just like pinging
Yeah.
him a little bit, being like, "Hey, just checking in," you know? Because I feel like Danny has great power, right? But I feel like he hasn't honed it enough. In the book, he hones it a little bit better, and
I
he
was gonna
knows a
say,
little bit more.
I remember there's like a bit, there's more to the connection between him and Halloran in the book.
Yeah, there is. It goes in
And-
a little deeper, but as far as the movie goes, not so much. Like they had the
Yeah.
ice cream, and that was about it, and a little chat.
Yeah.
So
It's more of just like the Halloran seeing the vision of Danny having a seizure and being like, oh shit, something's wrong.
yeah.
My shine is going off. Like,
I'm not sure if it's like
my
Spidey.
shine tingle.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's Spidey senses of him just getting
It's
that
Peter
message.
tingle.
It could be so many ways, right? It could be that Holleran is checking in. It could be Danny sending those vibes, as Grady seems to suspect.
Yeah, almost like as an SOS.
Yeah, or it's I don't want to say completely by accident, but it's not Danny intentionally doing it. He's just giving off so much vibe
Yeah.
that Holleran's picking it up. So we have 3 little different ways. Anyways, any of those ways, Holleran is on his way.
Yeah.
Jack, Grady continues to
Talking about, like, he goes on about how with his wife and kids, when they like acted up, he had to correct them.
Yeah, because one of his daughters tried to burn down the hotel.
And then his wife tried to stop him correcting his daughters, and so he corrected her too. And so he's like, don't you think that your wife and son need correcting as well? Jack's like, oh shit.
Yeah. So the next thing we get is Jack wandering down to Ullman's office where Holleran got to the Forest Service. We forgot to mention that. He couldn't get to the hotel, but he calls the Forest Service to be like, hey, there's a family with a young boy up at the Overlook. If you could please just check in with them for me, please. And he's like, yeah, no problem. I'll give him a ring. Call me back in about 20. So he hangs up, and then we find out that Holleran's on his way up. The Forest Service is now trying to contact the family to make sure they're okay as requested. And so you can hear over the radio, it's KDA 1 to KDA 12 or 12 to 1, whatever. It's KDA. That's their whole thing.
Yeah.
Jack walks in, stares at the radio going off, takes off the cover for it, and then just yoinks out a fuse. I honestly, the first time I watched this, I thought he was just gonna like just destroy it.
Yeah, like rip it off the table. And
Yeah.
well, I think he tries to take it off the table and notices that it's like bolted onto the desk.
Yeah.
And so he just unscrews the 2 screws on the back, keeping the cover on, takes the cover off, rips all 3 of the fucking main like big fuses out, and like tosses them in his hand for the camera. And then like
I was expecting a lot more damage. It was such like, because we'll see later the other damage he causes, right?
Yeah.
I was expecting something like that where it's irreversible damage, not just a fuse. You could obviously Wendy isn't going to know where to find replace fuses, but it's that is a much more possible fix to do than what he does to the other thing.
Yeah, because like what if they just had spare fuses for that thing in the office?
I don't know if they'd be in the office, but they definitely have like spare fuses.
Like,
so I was just expecting a more dramatic destruction of the radio.
Yeah.
We get a cut of Halloran as he's making his way to the hotel. He's now officially landed in Denver, and he's got like a rental car or whatever, and it's snowing, blizzarding, and he's like creeping his way down, and there's a flipped over semi, and these cops are waving him through, and the radio saying all the roads are closed and this and that and blah blah blah, and he's just creeping his little way through, making his way. Homie's like, "I'ma save you, boy. I'm on my way." Wendy has her baseball bat again, wandering the lobby looking for Jack, but he isn't in his the Colorado room where he has been typing. So she looks at the typewriter to see what he's been working on, and she pulls out the paper.
Classic.
And the paper is just the most, again, one of the most iconic scenes in this movie. There are like multiple of all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, over and over and over again. And then she looks at his stack of papers he's written, and it's that sentence over and over again, except it's formatted like a play.
Yeah, so there's like pages that look like, book pages where it's, the paragraphs, but it's all just all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, over and over again. And then she like pulls up a page, and then it's like you said, like a screenwriting thing where you have the dialogue in like the separate, more condensed boxes in between the larger paragraphs
Of the scene setting.
but it's all the same words over and over. And then like some of the pages are that in straight lines, like perfectly all written. And it's so funny because there's like some random typos in there, but I can just imagine like someone had to sit down.
I'm about to shout her out. Go ahead, continue.
Type out
500 pages.
Yeah, over and over and over and over again. At one point, you're just going to be like, all work and no play makes Jack a dull bot. All work and no play makes Jack a dull gay. Like, it fucking happens.
Margaret Warrington.
Wow. Kudos to Margaret Warrington.
She was Kubrick's assistant. It varies between sources whether or not she was a director's assistant or a secretary. I don't know the difference.
I hope she got paid well.
I fucking hope so. She had to type 500 sheets of paper, and the missus asked why 500 sheets. Well, not only for that stack, but how many times did they reshoot the scene? How many things got destroyed because of all of the shooting, right? And then she's also the one, as far as I know, who typed those pages in the other languages for other language releases.
No way.
That is what I saw. I've never seen this movie in a different language, but allegedly she also did that. So this woman, fucking hero. Like, you better got fucking paid.
I'm gonna Google that right now. Yeah, the German language version. It's like, Hast du hat kannat besorgen. Like, I don't even fucking know what it says, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how...
I mean, that, like, you can tell. Like, it's literally...
It's the same formatting.
It's the same formatting, though. That's a nightmare, especially if you don't speak that language.
Well, she knew that sentence. And who knows how many other languages.
But, like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
Freaking amazing woman there. Her poor fingies.
Yeah. I hope she got paid well.
Fucking better of. Wendy at this point is kind of like, what the fuck? And she's like flipping through page after page after page, and you get this back shot of her as she's doing that, and you watch Jack walk into frame. He startles her by asking, "So how do you like it? Do you like it?" And she backs away from him, saying, I just want to talk. Like, let's just talk about it. And she keeps backing away from him as he advances, not menacingly in the way of like being like leaning forward and hunched and like in attack mode. Just one of those
things where if a person takes a step back from you and you just keep stepping forward, that's not comfortable.
Yes. She keeps backing away from him, and he keeps saying, I think we should, or she says, I think we should discuss it, Danny, or whatever. He is an asshole this entire scene. She wants to talk about taking Danny to the... No, she doesn't. She's like, I just wanted to talk to you. And he's like, okay, then let's fucking talk. And she's like, it's okay, like, we can do it later. And he's like, no, you want to talk about what? Tell me. And I want to talk about Danny, take him to the hospital, and he fucking starts mimicking her, berating her. Everything she says, he repeats it in that voice. And oh god, I would punch a bitch if they did that to me. As this is happening, Danny is watching from like his third eye type thing, watching the fight happen. He gets the bloody elevator scene, and the voices are very distorted, so you know he's listening to them as well. And he asks her, she's like, I want to take him to a doctor. And he says, have you ever stopped to think about my responsibilities, what I need to do? I signed a contract. I signed a contract to be here until May 1st and put my blood and sweat into this hotel, and I have responsibilities to these owner. And he's going off, man.
Yeah.
And like, he's not wrong, right? He signed a contract to take care of everything, but if your son needs to go to the fucking doctor, have your wife leave in the damn snowcat they have, go take him to a doctor, make sure everything's okay. You can be up here by your damn self, dude. But yeah. I mean, because you could make, if you did not know, Wendy can drive. Mm-hmm. She's not like completely dependent on him. She states earlier that they both can drive. When Ullman was talking about the snowcat, it's just like driving a car. She could just leave, but she doesn't. To be fair, that would be very scary. It has been blizzarding a lot. I don't blame her for just like dipping.
Yeah.
For not dipping.
At least having someone know that you're leaving in case, you know, something happens.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't have 127 hours in this bitch anymore. Like, people gotta learn.
Yes, exactly. So she, at this point, has backed up the stairs and is almost on the second floor, and she starts waving the bat around. She's like, stay away from me, stay away from me. Like, I just want to go back to the room. We can talk about this later. I'm so confused. Like, I don't know what to do. And
she's like, he's like, I don't want to hurt you. I just want to take that bat
and bash your brains
bash your little brains in.
I'm not going to hurt you. And he's like, he tells her to stop swinging the bat, and he's like, give me the bat. Stop swinging the bat. I told you to stop swinging that damn bat. Give me the bat. And he reaches out, but she smacks his hand with the bat, and he's like, ah. And he like leans down or something, and she bashes him on the head with it. And this scene of him just going,
yeah, it's so good.
He just like T-poses, falls down the stairs.
It's an old movie, so you got to give him some grace when it comes to how they portray these things. But it is very, like, he stands there for a second and just, like, goes into a T-pose and then just falls back and tumbles to the bottom of the stairs and just lays there for a minute as Wendy runs away.
And then we get this scene of him slowly, groggily waking up as he's being dragged through the kitchen. And this is where, like, snaps off to this woman. This is fast thinking for her, because this was the best option. This was a good choice. So she's dragging him to, I say this too early because I'm about to bitch on her a little bit, drags him to this dry storage room that has an outside lock and like a metal door. Like, this is like a sealed room, probably to help with like the rat issue. They talk about it more in the books than they do the movie, that there might be a rat issue in the hotel. Yeah. And so I think this is kind of more meant for that.
Yeah. She
goes to open it and it's locked. It's not actually locked. It just has like the little pin trapped in there, and she's like jiggling it as Jack is groggily like, and like starts to get up, and he's like, what are you doing? What's happening? And she finally realizes it's just a pin, pulls it out, drags him in there, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And she gets out fast enough and locks him in the cold storage, which, yes, metal ass fucking door. Man is trapped in there. He also has food and like drinks. He's chilling. And she backs away, grabs a knife off of a metal, like the magnetic block, hyperventilates a little bit at a table, just freaking out as he's banging on the door.
Yeah, he's yelling, just being like, let me out, let me out.
Let me the fuck out.
Oh, and it's so good because it cuts to an angle of right underneath him looking up, as almost as if you'd like put a phone underneath the door with the camera on and like look up. So you're like watching him as he's hunched over the door. You can see his face, and just every now and then he'll literally like glimpse at the camera for a second, but it
works.
It adds to the unease as a viewer, because you're just like, oh my god, like he's looking at me. Stop.
And for the first like chunk of this, he's screaming, get me the fuck out of here, being super angry, and then you can see it in his face as it clicks, and he's like, baby, honey, I think you hurt me real bad. I think I really need to go see a doctor. I don't know why I'm giving him like a weird Southern-ish accent. He doesn't have one. Baby.
You made me Southern. You hit my head so hard.
I lost my accent. Got a new one. And he's trying to play on her sympathies, and I almost thought this was going to work on her because of her character we've seen so far, and she does get up and she stops hyperventilating and she like walks over to the door, and I'm like, bitch, if you fucking let him out, you just killed you and your son. Like, what is wrong with you? And
no, instead she goes, I'm gonna go now.
And I'll bring back a doctor for you, but I'm leaving now. And he's like, the fuck you aren't. I got a surprise for you. And he just starts menacingly laughing. And she runs outside, pushes the door open because there's a good 4 inches of snow outside. 6 inches of snow outside, enough to like block the door a little bit that you gotta shove it open to
more
create
than
a pathway.
6 inches. It's probably like,
well, it's not super. It's high. It's
probably like a foot of snow.
Well, around it, but like at the door, it looks like they shoveled like once or twice, and so it's like half of that. It's just kind of what's blown in. It's just enough to make it a little hard to push out the door.
No, that's fair.
And she runs out to go to the snowcat, which I also deep dove into a little bit because I was like, what did he fuck up in this? He cut the spark plug wires from the hub and pulled that out, and that is not a quick fix. You cannot fix that. She would not even begin to be able to fix that. So she's like, fuck, now I'm super stranded with my son here.
Yep.
And then we get 4 p.m. Fuck days. We're now doing time. 4 p.m. Jack is asleep in the dry storage with a bunch of like peanut butter and crackers and stuff. He's like sleeping on rice bags.
Giant container of peanut butter, just like crackers and Oreos sitting there. Like, I get it, dude. That's what I'd do if I was stuck in there. I'd just fucking eat until I'd pass out.
There's nothing else to do.
Just like eat yourself into a food coma.
There's a knock at the door, and he's like, baby, Wendy? And it's like, it's me, sir. It's Grady.
Delbert Grady.
Delbert Grady here.
What?
Who instantly starts berating him, and he's like, hey, you said you were going to take care of your family, and bitch, you fucking didn't. Looks like your wife's stronger than we thought she was.
Yeah.
What you going to do about it? We talked about correcting. There's people here, me included, who don't think you're cut out for this. We don't think you can do the harshness that's required to take care of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just wild sentence to say. Jack says, you just got to give me more time. I give you my word. I can do this. He sounds like a child who just got berated and is like, please, mom, just give me one more chance. Like, I swear I won't fuck up again. And then the door unlocks.
He essentially like promises or like, you know, agrees to make sure that it fucking happens.
In the harshest way possible.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then you hear the door unlock.
This is where we get the shot of Halloran driving via Snowcat.
Yeah, so we get Halloran driving up this snowy road through the trees, through the forest. And it's cool because they actually filmed him driving through an unplowed snowy road up to a fucking lodge in the mountains. It wasn't the same place that they used. Like, it's not the Overlook Hotel. It was like the Timberline Lodge or something like that. They slapped him in there and fucking made him drive up this sketchy ass road.
I love that.
Which I thought was cool because, you know, it just adds to everything.
For anyone curious, the snow and all of the fog and stuff around the hotel, the fog was added to make it look colder because they were actually like filming in summertime in like England or something. So it was actually fairly warm, which makes me feel better for later scenes. But it was an oil smoke machine. And so it was really hard to breathe with all of that smoke. And then it's fake snow. And so it was just like, you were breathing in a lot of, it wasn't even like the melty snow. It's like that fake plastic or like styrofoam type snow that was everywhere. And it was like, everyone said the set was just so rough to work in with those conditions.
Yeah. Oh God. I always just think about the nightmare of, sorry to get real fucking dark, but if anyone doesn't know, the original set for the Wizard of Oz, the old ass, like original Wizard of Oz, was it like the snow or it was something they used for special effects, like snow or something like I don't remember.
The rain? I'm trying to remember the seasons in Wizard of Oz. It's been a while.
Yeah, I don't know if it snowed in it. Something as far as the stuff that they were using in the scenes was just like pure asbestos.
People didn't know things.
Yeah. It's a good thing people know about that now. When you're watching The Wizard of Oz, you're just watching Dorothy just
die. Slowly.
Yeah, it's kind of depressing.
Danny, in Tony's voice, keeps repeating red rum, red rum, red rum.
Red rum.
And it's like, it's a pretty, like,
Red rum.
it's not super loud. It's just like a little bit here and there. And it's just like in a normal kind of voice as he's walking towards his sleeping mother and then picks up a knife that she went to bed with, obviously.
Yeah.
And then it gets, so it's like every few seconds he would say it. And then it progressively gets shorter and shorter between him saying red rum as he walks over to her vanity and grabs a lipstick.
It starts kind of like red rum. Not even that fast. Just like red rum. Red rum, like that. And then, he walks over to the lipstick, picks that up, walks over to
the
bathroom door, and writes red rum in the same way that we've been seeing in like flashbacks and stuff. We've been seeing this exact
door
image.
With it. And then it goes to him screaming, red rum, red rum. Yeah. And then it goes from Tony's voice to his normal voice. And this wakes up Wendy and she's just like, stop it, Danny.
Red rum, red rum.
And she like just grabs him and holds him real close until he stops. And then
as she's holding him, she looks in the mirror and sees the reflection of red rum on the door. And it says murder.
Dun, dun, dun. And at the same moment, Jack takes an axe to the flat door saying, honey, I'm home. And this only works with old buildings that have real wood doors, because you tell me what, my doors would not hold up to an axe swing.
Well, so you want to hear something funny? They built the doors for him to hack through.
That's right.
But the initial doors, they didn't take into account that Jack Nicholson had done a lot of volunteer firefighting work. I
forgot about this.
And so they gave him the light doors, and he just broke through that shit way too easily. So the guys had to go back and like actually reinforce it and make a stronger door because he was so good at busting down doors.
I forgot. That was one of my favorite facts. I can't believe I forgot about that.
It's cool. That's one thing I like about watching movies on Amazon is they give you like trivia and all sorts of like fun stuff about the movies. Yeah. As they even give you the music. They were showing me the music for like all the scenes. I was like, I didn't even know these sounds had a name. Like,
that's cool. I usually, so I try to do like when I search or I'm doing research, right? I'll search behind the scenes stuff and then I'll look at like IMDb trivia and then I try to do that kind of stuff. And that's where I get a lot of my stuff from, is from just researching blogs that were really popular when these movies came out. Yeah. So he busts down that door. Wendy takes Danny into the bathroom and locks that door.
She opens up the window to the bathroom and
it doesn't
open all the way.
It's like what? How big of a window do you think that is? Like 2 feet by a foot and a half, maybe. Like it's a small.
Yeah, it's
window.
a small. I mean, it's a little bathroom window. You're not supposed to.
It's not like as small as like modern bathroom windows, though. It's like a full ass window that you can. Yeah, I just wanted to specify that it's not like a horizontal window. It's just like a normal vertical window, just small.
She looks out the window though, and there is snow literally sloped all the way to this
top of the window.
Second story window. She tries to squeeze out. She can't fucking squeeze out, obviously. And so she gets Danny and like kind of shimmies him feet first so that he just like slides down this snow slope out to the outside.
I was thinking, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're good. I was just going to continue with the scene.
I was thinking about this. Mm-hmm. Would this work? Because technically this is a snowdrift, right? The wind has blown all of this up. It's probably maybe melted a little bit. Would he sink to the bottom as soon as he was stuck on there, or would this actually work that he would slide?
If that built up over time and then stayed like that long enough for it to kind of ice over almost, then yeah, I think it would work. But with that light looking snow, if it was actually light snow, he would have just like down to the bottom, which it wouldn't have hurt. He still would have been fine. It would have just... I
mean, he could have suffocated, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That was like my thing. As soon as she sat him on there, I was like, he's just going to sink and suffocate and die.
That was the one, I talked about jumping out of trees into the snow when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. That was the one thing that was always freaky, is like we had to make sure that whoever jumped out, the rest of our group like went and started digging him out,
Mm-hmm. So Danny thankfully slides on the slope and lands on the ground, and she tells him to run and hide. She tries to open the window more, and I'm assuming because it's a wooden window, I think it's I'm digging too much into this. It's probably swollen from the water, because it looks like it should open all the way, but it only opens about halfway, so it's probably just waterlogged. Mm-hmm. Jack then starts taking the axe to this door, and we get the iconic scene.
he busts a good chunk through like one of the rectangles on
Like
the
the
top part of the
panel?
door. Yeah. And he sticks his face right in between it and goes, "Here's Johnny."
Which is a
So iconic.
late night show reference to a show that was playing at the time that almost didn't get included because the director didn't get the reference.
Oh, but it's so funny now that this scene is also a meme, you know, because it's the meme of Wendy cowering in the corner with the bat, losing her. Oh yeah, with the knife, losing her fucking mind. The meme could be like, I don't know, like Minions or something. I don't know. It's like something dumb popping through the door.
Yeah.
Being like,
there are a lot of memes.
Your responsibilities are here. You have to take care of this now. Like, you know, like people with anxiety type meme. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, there's so many memes from this movie. There's this one. There's the one at the end of the movie.
Shit, Danny having a seizure was a meme.
Yeah, I was going to say this movie turned into meme central. It's fun because after he does that, so in this next scene, there's a bit of a goof because of all the reshoots, right? So he reaches his hand in there to try and unlock the door, and she slashes at his hand. Good for her. Thank you. You're still trying to protect yourself. Mm-hmm. And they hear the snowcat driving up, right? And Jack's like, "What the fuck?" So he actually leaves Wendy in the bathroom. But as he turns, because he hears the snowcat, both panels are broken out of the door. Like,
interesting.
Yeah. So I'm like, how many did you use the door twice, or did he like what happened here that it happened both times that both panels were busted out? But so he wanders. Oh, he hurt his ankle too when he fell down the stairs, and so he's like hunched forward, lunging, shambling, like dragging his ankle. It makes it so much more creepy because he's like half hunched the entire time, and he
with
just
an
like
axe.
He looks like a wild beast.
Yeah.
So Halloran has arrived. He gets out of the snowcat, goes into the front door, sees that the door is open, and is like, "Hello? Is anyone here? Hello?" And he's walking through the lobby, calling out, trying to see if anyone's still there. Which I was like, why are you doing that? But then it makes sense because the door was left open. He's probably like, oh shit, did they leave? Did someone come in? Like, what's going on here? And obviously he's seen a lot of the visions, but he didn't see up to this point, right? So he doesn't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy finally locks back in. And she's like, oh shit, my son. She doesn't say that, but you can see it on her face that she's like, I need to get out of here. My son's still outside. For some reason, she can't get the door open. And so she bangs on the doorknob with her knife.
Yeah.
Is this another version of her just forgetting there's a lock?
I guess.
She drives me a little crazy sometimes with the dumb shit she does. Danny he hides in one of the like metal, you've seen the stainless steel.
Yeah, like, he runs back in the hotel because, you know, he like escaped outside. He runs back in, but then like goes towards the kitchen. And there's the big steel, like stainless steel,
like countertop that has like the sliding
countertops
doors
with storage, like sliding doors for storage underneath. Yeah. He slides a door open and pushes the bowls to the side, and then climbs in and closes the door. Genius little kid.
Then we get back to Halloran,
who's walking down this hall, calling out, and out of nowhere, Jack jumps out and slams the axe into Halloran's chest, and Halloran screams, and Jack is like, "Ah!" And it's just loud and intense.
And this also makes Danny scream, which I'm assuming Danny had the shine moment and saw this happen from Halloran's point of view. So Jack hears it, and he's like, "Danny!" And he walks over to the hallway, and he's like, "Danny!" If he would have stayed hidden, he probably could have stayed hidden for a little longer, but he pops out of the cabinet and books it down the hallway. Wendy this is the thing, my guy. She's doing the olive oil run with her hands up here with the knife. She's, oh God. Woman, lock in again. She wanders down the hall, and then there's, she's upstairs calling for Danny, and she looks down the hallway, and there's one of the rooms open, and there's this person in a onesie with the butt flap open, and they sit up off the edge of the bed because they're kneeling at the edge of the bed. They have a weird wolf mask on, and they make what you think is eye contact with Wendy, and then this man in a suit sits up as well and also makes eye contact with Wendy, and she just and walks away, runs away from them.
This is kind of a little taste of maybe some of the weird things that have gone on in this hotel in the past.
I don't really know why there's this scene, except that now that we see that Wendy is also seeing the hotel, quote unquote, come alive. That's all I get from it.
No, that's fair.
Jack wanders to the front door now where both doors are pushed open, and he screams for Danny. He sees Danny run towards the maze, so he turns on the outside lights, and it also lights up the maze. So he starts following Danny into the maze, and Danny has at least been in this maze once, right? Mm-hmm. So he at least has some knowledge of it. As far as we know, Jack has never been in here. It was like, oh, this kid's got him beat, and then I was like, oh no, there's fresh snow. And Jack is just following his footprints. Danny has a head start, and Jack has a limp, so he's got some time, but he's just following those damn footsteps.
Lots of shots of wandering through this maze in the dark with, this hedge maze has lights on either side, so, like, it's lit up.
But it's like the street lamps where there's, like, a gap, and then there's another light.
Yeah, Jack's literally following Danny's footsteps.
I'm coming for you, Danny boy.
Yeah, calling out, yelling at him.
We get cuts of Wendy searching the hotel for Danny as still, but then she finds Halloran's body in the lobby. She does the can't stand her arms. She looks down the hall, and it's Grady with his bloody freaking head saying something about, oh, great party, isn't it, ma'am?
Yeah.
Is this when she sees it? She also finally sees the bloody elevator scene. She sees that happen at one point for the first time. Danny notices his footsteps, and he's like, oh. And he backtracks super well back to a turn that he missed. Yeah,
he backtracks through his own previous footsteps as to not create more. And then he gets back a good little bit through his footsteps and then kind of like jumps to the side onto his knees. And then starts backing up and, like, swishing the snow back and forth, cover what he's moving back from now.
And then he hides, like, in as much as he can in the bush.
Yeah, around the corner. And then we see Jack following the footsteps, and we have, like, the camera angle looking down at the footsteps. Jack comes up to an end where they just stop. And he kind of, like, looks around, and then he fucking gets pissed.
He gets angry, picks a direction, and just full send starts walking down it.
Yeah.
He is slowly getting more and more unhinged. Danny, as soon as Jack is far enough away and he can't really hear him yelling anymore, books it back, following the footsteps, good boy, to the entrance again, where Wendy is outside yelling for Danny, and he trips and falls right at the perfect time. She grabs him, scoops him up into the snowcat. The only thing I could think here is, damn, Halloran was like bundled the fuck up, and you guys are in your PJs about to travel. You're gonna be cold.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess you're picking your demons, right? You're definitely gonna die by your husband, or you might die of hypothermia before you get to the next spot.
Jack is at this point, shambling through the maze. Just mumbling, just being like, and
he hears the snowcat restart, and he's like, "Hey, Wendy!" And he says Wendy once or twice, and then it just crumbles into wind. It's like kind of the cadence of Wendy,
incoherent wailing after a while, and then he just walks up and just like stops at this wall, sits down, and puts his back against the wall, and he sits there for a minute. And then it cuts to
the iconic meme scene.
The other iconic meme of him in the morning, frozen solid with his underbite hanging out, and he's looking up, just like frozen solid. And then we
zoom in through the hotel doors into a historical photo.
Yeah, we cut to the gold room. The camera's in the gold room at the bar, and it's looking out towards the hall. And there's a bunch of pictures on the wall out in the hall, and it zooms in so slowly, I should say, until it gets really close to this one picture of a bunch of people in this big ballroom. And it zooms in until you see all of them. And in the front, you can kind of look.
Looks like.
And then it zooms in slowly.
And then
zooms in closer. And you see that it's Jack at the front.
Of the
with
party.
The rest of the party.
And then the date on it is July 4th, 1921. And that's it.
And that's the end.
That's the end of the movie. We did a lot of comparing and contrasting from the book, more than I expected us to do. It's a classic for a reason.
Go read the book. Honestly.
We'll talk again. We talked about the book yesterday. We'll talk about it. Go listen to that one to hear me and my wife talk about the book. We will give you our honest opinions. Again, I'm biased because I don't really like Stephen King's writing. It's a bit of a slog so far. It's catching my attention with the stuff with Danny, but I feel like it's a little repetitive with the POVs sometimes.
Yeah.
The movie, I think this is a really good adaptation. I want to watch the 4-hour long one. Hopefully I can watch it maybe before our next episode and give a little bit of a it was good or bad type situation.
I am very excited because this is one of my favorites. Now we get to watch one of my other favorites and talk about that, which is Dr. Sleep.
Obviously, we got to cover Dr. Sleep as well.
Starring Ewan McGregor. Oh my God, I love that man so fucking much. That movie's going to have some trigger warnings.
I remember watching this movie in theaters, but I, for the life of me, cannot remember, like, the storyline of it.
There's some fucked up shit that happens in that movie, so it's really good. I think it's genuinely so good.
So we've got that planned. Next month, I'm going to plug this now because this is the last episode of the month. Next month for book club, we are going to do Horns by Joe Hill. So that's going to be next month. So that also means we'll be covering Horns, the movie, next month.
Cannot wait for that one.
So excited. Daniel Radcliffe. Oh, fantastic.
I love that movie.
I loved him in the first horror movie he did after Harry Potter, The Woman in Black.
Yes.
Fantastic. And I was like, oh my God, like this is an actor.
You should do that movie too.
Oh, I
know a lot of people didn't like it, but I saw it in theaters and I just remember being like, fuck yeah, that was legit.
I really liked it. I didn't watch the second one, but I really liked the first one.
Yeah. I think do that movie too.
Yes, we'll add it to the list. Also, add this movie to your guys' list. If you haven't fucking seen it, go watch it. Go watch the 4-hour long one maybe as well, and then come back and tell us which one was better.
Yeah, bro. Let us know.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Follow our Instagram and threads at No Self Service Pod. Until next time.